Chapter 511. The audition in full swing. As their relationship intensified, the life of Zhang and Zhang Han had gotten more and more interesting. What is love? It is said that after entering the period of passionate love, both men and women begin to know each other deeply in their long-term company, so that after 3 to 5 months, they would not be as curious or very dependent on each other as before. Love has a shelf life, and it can't be fresh forever. It is said that all one's life is devoted to love, and the key lies in how both men and women adjust their passion. It is said that no matter how long or short the period of passionate love is, we don't need to care about it, because learning to enjoy the dull period is the most important thing. But Zhang Han felt that their love was long-term, no matter whether they were in the period of passionate love or not, and now it was just beginning. Although he had a heavy burden on himself, his life attitude was still optimistic and upward. Even if the small world was coming, all he could do was face it, because worrying too much was not in line with his character. Therefore, in the remaining half-year, although Zhang Han would not miss any remains worth exploring, he also planned to accompany Xian and Meng as much as possible. In addition, Zhang Han didn't slack off on the road of cultivation. Still greater efforts were needed before he could attain his goal. As soon as his soul sense recovered, he began stretching the clouds above his sense sea. Twice, the third time, the fourth time. Gradually, by the fifth time, Zhang Han could hold on for 20 seconds. He got the same kind of feeling as when Zhao Feng was learning the big dark devil shadow. He kept on cultivating and persisting. Although he felt a little uncomfortable, the growth of the clouds was considerable. Seeing that the dark clouds had been connected into a large area, he knew that there would be thunder and lightning soon. Zhang Han knew that when he advanced to the innateness stage and totally changed his soul sense, it would be time to get the harvest. 2 days passed in a flash. In the past 2 days, the news about Chinese New Voice had been widely known. The show was set for December 5th. Among the 4 mentors, Zhuo Dong, a rapper, and Die Hua, a Chinese singer, once again formed a team. The first group was tutored by Gefan, who was now very popular, while the third group was tutored by Xian, the beautiful goddess with a lot of fans and topics. In order to attract more attention, the program team even released news that Xian and Han Yang had a good relationship. Although Han Yang had never appeared in public, he had more than 70 million Weibo fans, and had caused a public opinion war among major fan groups, which had left a deep impression on everyone. What's more, Han Yang was the symbol of high-quality songs, so if they joined Xian's team, maybe they would get a chance. But they didn't know that Han Yang was Xian's husband, let alone that he could come to the show in person in such a complex environment. Even so, the hype of Chinese New Voice had produced the desired effect of the program team. Even on the last day of the online primary audition, many famous entertainers in the entertainment circle were still signing up to join the show. Time flew. Today was Monday the 15th. At about 7 o'clock in the morning, Xian and Meng got up to wash up. Honey. After washing, both the mother and girl put on their formal clothes and went into the corridor. Xian called Zhang Han as she walked to the kitchen on the right. I'm here, the food will be ready soon. Zhang Han's voice came from the kitchen. His wife and daughter went into the kitchen happily. Zhang Han was making the last dish. The kitchen was relatively large, so it would not be crowded even if more people were here. It smells good. Meng sniffed the air. Well, let's have breakfast. Zhang Han put the last dish on the plate, then walked to the side restaurant with 2 dishes and rice. We're ready. Xian helped to serve some dishes. Now, they had a nutritious breakfast in front of them. 3 kinds of vegetables, milk, boiled eggs, 8 treasured rice porridge, and milk-flavored steamed buns that Meng liked. Since Ziqiang made milk-flavored steamed buns for Meng, Zhang Han had learned about all kinds of relevant ingredients and managed to make better steamed buns and get Meng's praise. Let's have breakfast. Meng cheered, climbed onto a large chair, and sat down. Meng Meng was unable to eat much, just a few bites of each one were almost enough. It's 7:30. Let's eat quickly, I'll dress you up after eating. Zhan looked at Zhang Han and said. Huh, Mama, how do you dress Papa? Meng Meng asked in confusion. Papa is very handsome, is it necessary to dress him up? I'll arrange a set of clothes for your Papa, Zhan replied with a smile. Great, great, Papa, please eat it quickly. Meng Meng's big, clear eyes lit up with excitement. It was like she was going to dress up her Papa. Okay, I'm full. Zhang Han put down his chopsticks and waited for Meng Meng to finish the last bite before he said, Papa will clean up the table first. Zhang Han put the tableware in the tray, took it to the kitchen, and then walked to the fitting room with his wife and daughter. Zhang Han's fingers moved slightly as he walked toward the room. The faucet in the kitchen turned on automatically, and the small waterfall-like water doused all the tableware that has just been used, making them very clean. Then the kitchen cupboard opened and the cutlery flew back under Zhang Han's control. Generally speaking, when he was free, Zhang Han would clean up the dishes by himself. For him, to enjoy life was to enjoy every step of life. But they were in a hurry today, so he chose this fast method. The family of three entered the fitting room. To be exact, it was Zhang Han's fitting room. Since they had moved into the castle, the fitting room had been on the 3rd floor. There were 3 fitting rooms in total, belonging to Zhan, Zhang Han, and Meng Meng. Because of Zhan's efforts, every fitting room was full of clothes. Such a large-scale purchase made her happy yet sorry for her lost money. The effect of such a shopping spree was the rich and colorful fitting rooms, each of which was divided into a coat area, pants area, and a whole wall area of shoes, not to mention the matching mirrors and chairs. Though Zhan already had a lot of clothes, she didn't mind buying more. At this time, she was wearing a white sweater, dark red trendy jeans, and a pair of white shoes. Zhang Han was wearing casual clothes. He would go to the audition later, and Zhan would definitely design his appearance herself. You'd better go in hip-hop style. Zhan paced back and forth in Zhang Han's fitting room. Would you like to wear a hoodie? Let's choose from these white ones. How about this one? As for pants, how about this red one? Dislike it, this one, or that one? It seemed to be hard for them to pick out satisfactory clothes in a short time. Fortunately, Zhan was good at matching clothes, and it only took her 2 minutes to make the final decision. Wear this dark blue one, this pair of red and white shoes, this white cap, a belt, and a pair of socks. Well, go and change. After the selection, Zhan put a whole set of clothes on the sofa. Come on, Papa, change your clothes, urged Meng Meng, who kept following Zhan like a happy bird. Zhang Han changed into the suit and put on his cap. You look nice and fashionable. Zhan looked Zhang Han up and down, and then nodded with satisfaction. My husband has a standard model build and looks handsome in everything. Yes, Papa, you look as handsome and fashionable as a model, so good looking. As a little fan of her Papa, Meng Meng looked at Zhang Han adoringly. Ha ha ha. Looking at the stylish young man in the mirror, Zhang Han found himself not in his familiar casual or formal style. He looked more like a cool and sparky big boy. Oh, you need a pair of sunglasses, try these. Zhan picked out a black pair from more than 40 pairs of sunglasses after a 10-second selection on the nearby sunglasses shelf. Zhang Han looked even cooler with the sunglasses. Although his face was half covered by the cap and sunglasses, the lower half of his face was still attractive. Okay, let's go, Zhan said contentedly. The family of 3 went downstairs, got in the panda car, and took Meng Meng to school. At about 9 o'clock in the morning, Zhang Han and Zhan went back to the company in New Moon Bay, boarded the helicopter at the rear apron, and flew to the shooting site in Shenzhen. Zhifei Leng also accompanied Zhang Han and Zhan to Shenzhen. Zhao Feng had already arrived in Shenzhen by helicopter and rented a villa near the shooting site for a month. which would be the temporary residence of Zhang Han and Xian during the show. Because part of the show would be recorded at night, Xian had to go home late after the shooting was finished, and Zhang Han would go back earlier to pick up Meng Meng. Among these mentors, Gafan, the coldest, was originally a member of an idol group, who has been questioned by many people about his qualification to be a mentor, so he will certainly be stricter on the show. While Xuanhuan is an easygoing rapper, it's said that mentor Dehua used to be very strict. The arrangement of the program team is very scientific. For Dehua, Xuanhuan, Gafan, and Sister Yan all have their own advantages, and there won't be a one-sided situation when the students are grouped. After the brief analysis, Zif couldn't help laughing. Then she turned to look at Zhang Han and said, "But they didn't expect that you, brother-in-law, a famous lyricist, would come. If the students knew your identity, I'm afraid they would all choose Sister Yan. That's why I gave him a stage name and dressed him up like this. He won't be recognized at the beginning of the show." Xian smiled. She did not know that she underestimated the imagination of others. "What's his stage name?" Zif asked curiously. "It is, I won't tell you now, it will be revealed when the time is right." Xian covered her mouth and laughed. Zhang Han shook his head helplessly. He wanted to laugh actually, because Xian was really not good at naming. "Come on, Sister Yan, don't keep me guessing, or I'll die from curiosity, you know." Zif was not willing to give up. "Okay, I'll tell you." Xian pursed her lips and said with a smile, "I'm cute." "What do you mean?" Zif was confused. "Sister Yang, you are cute?" "No. His stage name is I'm Cute. PFFT, ha 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 ha." Xian successfully amused Zif, who laughed until tears came. Zhang Han smiled helplessly for a second time. 1 minute later, Zif stopped laughing and said, "Sister Yan, you're a genius." "What a wonderful name, it suits my brother-in-law well. Anyway, he'll be recognized after 2 or 3 rounds of competitions, and his stage name will be of no use then." Xian shook her head and said. Later that day, Xian thought about it carefully, and discussed it with Zhang Han, telling him that if he was unwilling to take part in this show, he didn't have to go, because as long as Zhang Han sang several songs, it would be easy for the audience to recognize him as Han Yang, and Xian didn't know if Zhang Han wanted to become the focus of the public. To be honest, Xian had been looking forward to this show for many days, and she would feel a little disappointed if Zhang Han missed it. To her delight, Zhang Han promised to accompany her without hesitation, which greatly moved her. The helicopter soon reached the tarmac of the villa, where Zhao Feng was already waiting for them with 2 prepared cars. "I'll test you later. Come on." Xian kissed Zhang Han on the cheek and got in the car. Leng drove her and Zif to the program team. Zhao Feng and Zhang Han drove slowly behind them. "Master, if the martial arts world knew that you were coming to an entertainment show, all the martial artists would be surprised," Zhao Feng said with a smile. "Maybe," Zhang Han replied. "Master, out of every man I've met, you're the one who loves his children and wife the most. As my idol, you are an example to me." Cough. Zhao Feng said while looking carefully at Zhang Han's expression. Zhang Han was amused and took a glance at Zhao Feng. "Stop fawning over me. Do you have any requests?" "Hee, Master, your eyes are indeed shining." Zhao Feng grinned and said, "Remember the batch of elixirs you gave me last time? 60% of them was given to the security team, 20% was given to the Wang family, and the remaining 20% was given to the Wolfhead detachment. While I'm going to advance to the heaven stage, Instructor Liu, Xiong, Elder Meng, and Ah who have all advanced to the earth stage and are close to the heaven stage now. However, we can't go any further now, for the big dark devil shadow is too profound for us to understand. It's because you're just beginning to take the path of cultivation." Zhang Han shook his head and said, "Spend more time cultivating every night, and your skill will catch up with your cultivation in 2 or 3 months. "Oh, I'm relieved to hear that it's normal." Zhao Feng sighed in relief. Just like studying, Cultivating is like sailing against the current. Either you keep forging ahead or you keep falling behind. Though the natural rule seems simple, you still have to go a long way to get close to the truth. All these principles need to be understood slowly. Although I have led you to find the direction, you need to rely on yourself to move forward and find your ultimate goal. Zhang Han nodded. I'll keep it in mind, Master, Zhao Feng replied seriously. They soon arrived at the recording site of the show. After getting out, Zhao Feng got a pass and was ready to be an audience member. According to Zhang Han's number plate, he was performer number 188 today. There were 1,000 people who took part in the audition, so the mentors of each team would enjoy the performances of 330 people. The advantage of Xuanhuan and Diehua was that their audition speed was relatively fast, so they could use the rest of their time to communicate with their top-seeded contestants and persuade them to choose their team in the official competition. The recording site was a large factory building, in front of which there was a large square, and the sign of Chinese New Voice had been hung on the gate. The old factory building, which had been renovated in a few days, now looked very magnificent. After all, the show was well funded. There were a lot of people at the entrance. While Zhao Feng entered through the staff passage, Zhang Han began to line up with the other competitors. There were many seats around the square, making it more like a football field. 70 to 80 people were standing in the center of the square, who were in the first round of auditions, while the competitors who got a number for the second round were waiting on the platform around the field. There were many people here, which made the venue noisy. Some of them seemed to be familiar with each other, and they soon gathered together to discuss the competition. Zhang Han, wearing sunglasses and sitting alone, had attracted many people's attention. He was a little confused. Do they recognize me? Why are they looking at me? Soon after, at 10 o'clock, nearly 1,000 people had gathered in the meeting place. The actual number of people present was not the official 1,000, because there were dozens of people unable to attend for various reasons. Welcome to the show of the first season of Chinese New Voice. I'm Cheng Zhu, the chief director. First of all, let's welcome the 4-star mentors. On the small stage to the right, Cheng Zhu finished his opening speech with the microphone, and more than 20 pieces of video recording equipment began to operate. At the same time, several lenses were aimed at the baffle at the back of Cheng Zhu. The 4-star mentors entered the arena one after another. Let's welcome Xuanhuan, the rap star, Diehua, the famous singer, Gafan, the new star, and Xian, the pop diva. Welcome these 4-star mentors. Cheng Zhu spoke in a low voice. Woo! Wow! Clatter, clatter. As the performers entered, the whole venue seemed to be lit up. Screams, shouts, and exclamations were all over the place. Zhang Han even heard a lot of girls' screams. Wow! Gafan is so handsome, he is the best-looking man. But Zhang Han heard more of the men's exclamations. Oh, Xian is pretty, she looks more beautiful than in the pictures. She is a real goddess. Oh, I fell in love with her. Cough. Stop. She is my wife. Zhang Han pushed his glasses up with his fingers. Turning to look at Xian, he smiled slightly yet happily. Xian's dress was very fashionable today. She curled up her hair, leaving only a few strands of hair scattered on her forehead, showing a messy beauty. Her long neck and beautiful face were really eye-catching. Next, let's start the second round of auditions directly. The 4 mentors will assess the performers in the square and present the golden chain to the winners, which is the same as the chain I'm holding now. Cheng Zhu announced as he held up the chain, which looked like a necklace pendant and was engraved with the Chinese characters for Chinese New Voice. I want to emphasize that there are only 100 golden chains. That is to say, only 100 of the nearly 1,000 people present can advance to the next level of competition, while Gafan and Xian both have 33 golden chains in their hands. Xuanhuan and Diehua have 34 respectively. Well, the second round of auditions begins. With the voice of Cheng Zhu, the discussion in the venue gradually stopped. Everyone realized that today's audition would be very difficult. because only 1 out of 10 people could get through. So the 4 mentors began to assess the performers. The performers sang, rapped, or danced while singing to show their talents as much as possible. But there were still very few people who could pass the examination. Xuanhuan kept calm all the time and listened carefully to the contestants singing. Suddenly, as he began to examine a man, he heard some shrieks from the audience. Wangzhang is sure to pass the assessment and advance to the next round. Yes. His last single had 30 million hits a year. He's very popular. He is a strong singer, and I think he will be one of the candidates for the championship. Many contestants began to talk about it, which was recorded clearly by the camera. But the truth was more interesting. Facing Xuanhuan, Wangzhang couldn't help swallowing nervously. He felt nervous. So nervous. Therefore, when he started singing, he went out of tune. Xuanhuan frowned, shook his head slightly, and went to the next contestant. "Sorry, I'm so nervous. May I have another chance?" Wangzhang's face was pale. His mistakes caused many sighs and discussions. "It would be unfair to the others if I gave you another chance. Opportunities are reserved for those who are prepared." Xuanhuan stopped and said calmly, "Obviously, you are not prepared for it." Then he went forward, leaving Wangzhang in regret. The rest of the contestants were shocked and became more nervous. Xuanhuan is really strict. As long as I make a mistake, I will never have another chance. I'll try my best later. Perhaps I should close my eyes while singing. But we can't help feeling nervous when getting so close to them, who are often seen on TV. It's so stressful. If they made mistakes, they would be eliminated like Wangzhang. In the first round of selections, there were a lot of performers who were expected to advance to the next stage, but they were so nervous that they made mistakes frequently in their performance and were eliminated. After all, some people were only suitable for singing in the studio, not for live performance. About an hour later, at the end of the first round of selections, the results of the contestants were not satisfactory. Xian sent out 3 golden chains, Xuanhuan and Diehua sent out 5 in total, and Xuanhuan sent only 1. Now, let's welcome the second group of performers, from number 90 to number 190. Hearing the host's words, Zhang Han stood up and went to the center of the venue. As he walked, he again attracted many audience members' attention. At the beginning of the assessment, Xian specially chose the direction of Zhang Han's side to assess from the edge. She soon approached Zhang Han. All of a sudden, Zhang Han heard a faint voice. "Hello, handsome boy, you seem to be rich, aren't you?" Zhang Han turned around and found a 1.6 meter tall girl with a round face, who was a little nervous. Zhang Han was surprised to see her. He knew the girl, Tong Jiejie, who had become a famous singer in the world of his previous life. "Why did you say that?" Zhang Han replied casually. "Well, all your clothes are expensive. OFF white top, AJ1 that unlimited shoes, Dior sunglasses and pants, Gucci cap. The total price of your clothes is at least over 100,000 yuan. Even the mentor's clothes are not as expensive as yours," Tong Jiejie said shyly. "Huh, I see." Zhang Han was surprised and then smiled. "Are you nervous?" Looking at Xian, who was approaching them, Tong Jiejie gulped anxiously and then comforted Zhang Han. "Don't worry, just try your best when it's your turn. I found that as long as you can perform normally, you are likely to pass the examination." Ha ha. Zhang Han took a glance at the girl and couldn't help laughing. Obviously, the girl was more nervous, and she was actually comforting herself with what she had told Zhang Han. Thinking for a while, Zhang Han said, "Your voice is very good, and I'm sure you can show your real strength." "Really?" Tong Jiejie's eyes lit up. "Yes, thank you. I feel better now after hearing your words. May you have good luck, too. You are handsome, and I heard that a good appearance will win you more favor from the mentors." As an outgoing girl, Tong Jiejie approached Zhang Han and compared her height with his. "By the way, you are taller than 1.8 meters, right? A tall handsome boy will get even more favor." Zhang Han smiled and nodded at the girl. When he turned around, he found Xian glaring at him with anger in her eyes. It seems that she is going to kill me. All right. A handsome boy will gain more favor. But I'm afraid I'm dead now, young sister. Chapter 512, I'll punish you tonight. Mentor, you're so beautiful. The young man beside Zhang Han was still nervous after performing, and he couldn't help staring at Xian and flattering her. Thank you, Xian replied calmly. Will I pass the examination? The young man asked since he hadn't received Xian's golden chain. Xian shook her head slightly and walked toward Zhang Han. Then she heard the young man asking, Mentor, what was wrong with my singing? Xian stopped, turned around, and answered, your voice is nice, and your recorded songs should be good, but you are not good at mastering rhythm without accompaniment, and the ending of your second, fourth, and fifth lines was low. Maybe you didn't notice it. You'd better go back and practice more. Xian nodded slightly and left, leaving the man in embarrassment. All this was recorded by the cameraman who followed Xian all the way. Xuanhuan, the rapper, was attracted by the young man's voice and took a few looks at him from behind Xian. Instead of asking for the young man immediately, Xuanhuan hesitated for a while and decided to give him the golden chain if Xian didn't change her mind after all the examinations. Although each mentor had his or her own assessment area, they were promised to go to the other mentor's area to select the performers who had been passed over. However, this kind of situation was uncommon, unless the player was particularly favored by a mentor and rejected by his own mentor. At the same time, choosing another mentor meant that he would take the risk of offending the original mentor, but it was impossible for a performer with real strength not to get the golden chain. Hearing Xian's comment, Xuanhuan was more interested in the unlucky young man, so he stopped to watch Xian's assessment after finishing examining the girl in front of him. Xian approached Zhang Han. She was as calm as when she was assessing the other players. After looking Zhang Han up and down, she took out her notebook and said, Number 188, start please. Although she looked very kind, she was actually growling in silence. Ah, I've been away for just a few minutes. How dare you talk and joke with another woman? HMPH, wait and see, hiss. Facing Xian's gaze, Zhang Han couldn't control his twitching mouth. All right, she is jealous. However, he forgot that Tong Jiejie was still waiting beside him. Noticing that the handsome boy hadn't said anything for 2 seconds, the girl made a gesture to encourage him. Come on, handsome brother. Poof! Zhang Han's face darkened. After giving Xian a helpless smile, he cleared his throat and said, I'll sing a part of a poem for you. Then he began singing unaccompanied while marking time silently. Romance. It's strange, and I can't control myself. Romance. It's magic. I'm no longer myself. A poem for you, the silence for you, and I'll do whatever impossible. A good singer can attract his audience with the very first words he sings. Thanks to Xian's lessons in recent days aiming at enhancing the details of Zhang Han's singing skill, Zhang Han had made great improvements on the basis of his distinctive masculine voice. Therefore, his performance immediately attracted many people's attention. He is also a professional singer. The crowd began to discuss the masked young man. Even Xuanhuan narrowed his eyes in surprise. He had never expected a contestant to sing so well unaccompanied, which meant that the young man had devoted himself to music. Xuanhuan even felt that this performer could be better than some famous singers, or at least the young man had made full preparation in singing this song. Opportunity was for someone who was well prepared like him. However, when Zhang Han finished singing, Xian looked at him indifferently for 2 seconds, and then announced, unqualified. Swish. The crowd was stunned and then began to discuss it in low voices. What? If he is unqualified, shall we just go back home directly? Oh, God, number. How could she be so strict? So terrible. No one will pass the examination if the standard is like this. Both the competitors and Xuanhuan were stunned. Why didn't he pass the examination? They were in confusion. Is Xian looking for someone suitable for her own songs? But that's unreasonable. Huh? Thinking about it, Xuanhuan realized that his chance was coming. Maybe I can communicate with the strong man and invite him to my own team. I'm sure he'll be one of my best singers. A plan was soon made, and Xuanhuan was limbering up. On the other side, Zhang Han was in a dilemma and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He was the only one who knew that the beauty was not strict at all, she was just venting her spleen. But Zhang Han also knew it clearly that after assessing all the performers in her area, she would give him a golden chain. Imagining Xian coming to give him the chain, Zhang Han couldn't help smiling. The onlookers were a little confused. Do my eyes deceive me, or is he still smiling? Okay, it's none of my business anyway. Do whatever you like. Tong Jiajia gulped nervously when she saw what had happened. My gosh, he was refused though he sang so well. I'm finished. What can I do? I'm so nervous. Her heart stopped in her throat, but along with the high tension came the extreme excitement, and she secretly made up her mind. I'll pass the assessment and prove my strength. She took a deep breath, turned to look at Xian beside her, and then took the lead to say, Hello, mentor, I'm Tong Jiajia, a junior at the Hongyang Conservatory of Music. Nice to meet you. Start please. Xian nodded slightly. Although Xian was unhappy because Tong Jiajia had gotten close with Zhang Han, she listened to the girl carefully without selfishness. I'll sing Spring Breeze. Tong Jiajia narrowed her eyes slightly and persuaded herself that she was now on the stage. She began singing. It turns the peach blossom red, the willow green, whom you are going to comfort on the way. It awakens the frog, invites the swallow, who I'm missing so much in the city. When singing Blossom and Swallow, Tong Jiajia's vibrato was very professional, which improved the quality of the whole song. Xuanhuan had just finished the examination of a male singer, who had gained some fame in the circle and sang very well, so Xuanhuan gave him a golden chain without hesitation. Then he turned his gaze in Xian's direction. Both the young man and the girl are good singers, will she give them a chance? Xuanhuan pondered. At last, Tong Jiajia finished her part of the song and looked at Xian hesitantly. The other performers who were going to be assessed also got nervous. Thinking for a while, Xian took a golden chain from a staff member's hands and gave it to Tong Jiajia. Well done, you are good at controlling the rhythm, but you were half a beat quick from the beginning of the third line, so you need to practice more. Thank you, mentor, thank you so much. Tong Jiajia's eyes lit up. While reaching out to take the golden chain, she thanked Xian again and again. The cameraman managed to capture Tong Jiajia's excited expression and shining eyes. The girl was in a good mood now and suitable for some screen time. Seeing Xian giving out the golden chain, the other competitors following Tong Jiajia all sighed with relief. Xian stepped toward the next player, getting ready to listen to his performance. At this time, Xuanhuan walked directly up to Zhang Han. I can't wait any longer. Xuanhuan had expected that Xian would compare Zhang Han with the others and then change her mind, since the young man was really a good singer, and Xuanhuan couldn't help asking about him. Though after taking Xuanhuan's golden chain, Zhang Han might not agree to join his team. But Zhang Han would definitely give priority to Xuanhuan when choosing his new mentor, and Xuanhuan was confident that the young man would finally be his if he tried his best to persuade Zhang Han. The ranking and victory of each team were not only related to the dignity of the corresponding mentors, but also to whether they could continue to serve as mentors in the next season. The mentors were all interested in the potential of the show and wanted to stay. Hello, nice to meet you. Xuanhuan approached Zhang Han and gave him a smile. Is Xuanhuan here to rob Xian of her singer? The cameraman behind Xuanhuan had been shooting him and Zhang Han. Even Xian noticed the two men. What is Xuanhuan going to do? Is he here to rob me of my husband? She turned her gaze toward Zhang Han and Xuanhuan. Facing Xuanhuan's smiling face, Zhang Han nodded and replied, nice to meet you, Mentor Xuo. Well, your Mandarin is very good. Where are you from? Xuanhuan kept smiling. He was trying to get close with Zhang Han. Lots of people around them noticed it. The other performers in Xuanhuan's area who had been abandoned by their mentor could do nothing but force a smile. They had to admit that the young man favored by their mentor was really strong and professional. Xian might regret it if she keeps refusing the young man. I come from the north, Zhang Han replied. I've listened to your A poem for you just now, and you did a really good job with your skill and voice. Maybe we could cooperate to do something big. How much do you know about rap? Xuanhuan asked with expectation in his eyes. If Zhang Han could rap, Xuanhuan would really consider cooperating with him. Just a little. Well, have you heard the song Fate is a Bridge? Could you please try to sing a line of that song? Xuanhuan nodded. Fate is a Bridge was difficult, and he wanted to test the young man's limit. Xuanhuan planned to give the young man a golden chain no matter if he passed Xian's examination or not. The other competitors knew that Xuanhuan had settled on Zhang Han and decided to give him a golden chain. Many of them began to look at Zhang Han with envy. At the same time, they were all encouraged by Zhang Han's experience. Real talents would not be ignored. But at this time, Xian held her breath. I'll punish you when we go back home if you dare to get another's golden chain. Zhang Han seemed to sense the danger, so he smiled at Xuanhuan and shook his head. I'm sorry, Mentor Xuo, but I'm here for mentors and I'll go home if she refuses me. Clatter, clatter. The crowd was stunned once again. What did he say? Is he here for Xian? Is he here to flirt with the mentor? They didn't know what to say for the moment. Even Xuanhuan was choked by Zhang Han's words and lapsed into silence. But Zhang Han was such good a singer that he wanted to try again. I understand why you want to join her team, but it's an audition and each mentor's golden chain has the same function, which is to let you advance to the next round of competition. Though you may not choose me, I'll keep this golden chain for you in case you change your mind. Xuanhuan picked up a golden chain and gave it to Zhang Han. Xuanhuan's words and attitude won him a lot of favor from those present. Thank you, Mentor Xuanhuan, but I've made up my mind. Zhang Han smiled and nodded. Xuanhuan sadly took back the golden chain and sighed. All right. He looked at the camera, smiled, and said, it's the first time that I failed to give out a golden chain. He's very special. Then he took the lead to go back to his own area and continue the assessment. Xian smiled when she saw this. Of course, only Zhang Han saw her smile. Well, how could you rob me of my husband? Excuse me, mentor, have I passed the assessment or not? A young man's voice awoke Xian. Huh? Xian was embarrassed. The young man in front of her shrugged and repeated his question. Mentor, what do you feel about my song? Xian blinked her big eyes quickly and finally admitted, I'm sorry, but I didn't hear you clearly. Could you please sing your song again? Sing again, no problem. The young man replied and then began singing. I'm eating fried chicken in People's Square. Xian was stunned when she heard the song. Is he here to be funny? Finally, Xian pursed her lips and comforted the performer. The song was changed a little and thus you failed to show your skill. You'd better practice the ABCs of music more. Okay, do you mean that I can't pass the examination? It doesn't matter, I'm still a big fan of yours. You're so beautiful. It seemed that the young man didn't care much about the result. On the contrary, he was so optimistic that he even threw Xian a kiss before leaving the assessment area. Being amused by the young man, Xian smiled and then walked toward the next contestant. Seeing Xian go away, Tong Jiejia looked at Zhang Han and asked curiously, why didn't you accept the golden chain? Is it true that you are here for Mentor Xian? You'll be eliminated if you failed to get Mentor Xian's golden chain. Yes. Zhang Han took a glance at her and smiled. He didn't want to talk too much with the girl, or Xian would get angrier. Now Zhang Han was under the curious gaze of the crowd. Judging from his dressing style, the young man seemed to be wealthy, who should not care too much about the competition result. Therefore, it might be true that he was here to pursue the beautiful mentor. Meanwhile, the failure of this powerful performer brought them psychological balance. Gradually, Xian was about to finish her assessment, but there was no sign that she would go back. The crowd began to look at Zhang Han with sympathy. Well, why didn't you accept Xuanhuan's golden chain? Now, you'd better seek blessings for yourself. Finally, this round of assessments was all over. Chengzu, the director, picked up the microphone and announced, "Next, from number 191 to number 290, many of the eliminated players left the venue, and those who got a golden chain went to the back seats and sat down." What a pity. Tong Jiejia looked at Zhang Han, but she didn't know how to comfort the young man. When everyone felt sorry for Zhang Han. Wait. Xian stopped Zhang Han, who turned round and looked at Xian along with a lot of people. Xuanhuan smiled. Just as I said, Xian wouldn't give up such a good singer. Xian hurried to walk toward Zhang Han with a golden chain in her hand, which she put around Zhang Han's neck. Taking the opportunity, she grumbled coyly in Zhang Han's ear, "I'll punish you tonight, HMPH." Xian's attitude shocked lots of people. Damn it, it's the first time for Xian to do this personally. Wow, is it equal to a hug? I envy him so much. Great. Tong Jiejia cheered in a low voice and made a gesture to congratulate Zhang Han. Seeing this, the other three mentors were surprised. Why did she keep the young man waiting for such a long time? Why did she do this herself? Gafan asked curiously. I know a little more than you, for I've heard the young man's performance, though he just sang half of the song. He did a good job and was even better than many professional singers. But I failed to give him my golden chain and invite him to join my team. Xuanhuan smiled. Why didn't Xian give him the golden chain as soon as he finished singing? Diehua asked in confusion. I don't know. Xuanhuan shook his head, but he passed the assessment and is now one of our strongest rivals. I think he should be one of the candidates for the championship, and in terms of his performance so far, he will be in at least the top 5. It sounds like he is amazing. Gafan became more interested in that young man. However hard they tried to figure it out, they couldn't come up with a reasonable explanation for Xian's behavior. Maybe she wanted to spend more time emphasizing the value of this chain? They didn't realize that it was just the jealousy of a woman in love. Hearing Xian's words, Zhang Han smiled. Thank you for your golden chain, mentor. Zhang Han thanked Xian seriously, and then made a gesture of sending his heart to Xian. Xian was amused by him and could barely keep the smile off of her face. Pursing her lips, Xian gave Zhang Han a meaningful look, and then walked over to the other three mentors. Zhang Han thought for a while, and then found himself a seat in the waiting area. There were just a dozen people in the area, and many of them seemed to know each other and chose to sit together. Now all of them were looking at Zhang Han curiously. They had never seen Zhang Han before. On the other side, the 4 mentors started the 3rd round of auditions. There were 10 auditions in total, each of which took nearly an hour, so it would take up to 9 hours to finish all the assessments. While Zhang Han was watching the performances of the other competitors, Zhao Feng and Zif were waiting in the staff area. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Zhang Han texted Xian. I'm going back to pick up Meng Meng. Take care of yourself and don't work too hard. It's hot, so you'd better drink more water. Okay, see you later. Xian texted back after assessing a performer. Then Zhang Han texted Zhao Feng and asked him to send someone here to wait for the result. After driving back to the villa with Zhao Feng, Zhang Han boarded his helicopter, and it took him half an hour to arrive at his company in New Moon Bay. It was 3:45 p.m., and Zhang Han went directly to Meng Meng's kindergarten since he had nothing else to do. He waited for about 10 minutes at the school gate. Then he saw Meng Meng. Papa, why isn't Mama here? Is she busy working? Meng Meng asked as soon as she got in the car. Yes, Mama is busy working, and she'll come back at 7 o'clock in the evening. Zhang Han chuckled and replied. Well, Papa, shall we go to have an ice cream since Mama is not here? Meng Meng's big eyes were shining. She had just eaten ice cream yesterday, and Xian wouldn't allow her to have another one in a few days if she were here. Therefore, Meng Meng took this opportunity and turned to her father. Zhang Han fell silent and turned to look at Meng Meng. The little girl was gazing at him without even blinking her eyes. Zhang Han slowly gave her a smile. Of course, let's go. Chapter 513, The Busy Preparation Room. Wow, I love you, Papa. Meng Meng almost danced with joy and threw Zhang Han a kiss. After cheering for a while, Meng Meng stopped and asked Zhang Han in confusion, Papa, yes? Zhang Han didn't know what the little girl was thinking about. Papa, do you think the ice cream will be more delicious if we eat it with potato chips? Meng Meng suggested with a serious look. I don't think so, Zhang Han said deliberately. Well? Meng Meng was stunned and even forgot to blink her big eyes. She looked at Zhang Han in confusion. What is going on? Why, how could they be not delicious? Meng Meng tried to persuade Zhang Han. Before she finished speaking, Zhang Han cleared his throat and said, I think it will be more delicious to be eaten with shrimp-flavored chips, seaweed, and chicken-flavored potato circles instead of merely potato chips. Well? Meng Meng was again stunned, and then her eyes lit up. Really? Of course. Zhang Han burst out laughing. Wow, Papa is great, let's go buy them. Meng Meng cheered in excitement. She was overjoyed. But you can only have small packages of each snack. Zhang Han warned her. I see, I won't eat too much. Meng Meng was clever and nodded to Zhang Han. Then, let's go shopping. Zhang Han started the car. Let's go. Meng Meng reached out her little hand and made a gesture of charging forward. Zhang Han drove back to New Moon Bay and stopped at a supermarket in a shopping mall. It was a shopping spree. The big bag of snacks made Meng Meng very happy. When they went back to the third floor of Golden Mortal School, Zhang Han took out 3 snacks and ice cream, and then went to watch Boonie Bears with Meng Meng in the movie hall. They enjoyed the snacks while watching the movie. They would wait for Xian to come back for dinner, so it didn't matter if he let Meng Meng have some snacks first. At about 6 o'clock in the afternoon, Zhang Han took Meng Meng to the back mountain, where she had a good time with Big Hai and Little Hai. Zhang Han drank tea while watching them play. Master Zhao Feng went over to Zhang Han, sat down, and said, who was so lucky. He encountered 5 profound stage masters this time, and would have been killed if I hadn't sent him some elixirs. He killed 1 master, badly injured 1 master, and slightly hurt 3 masters. I see. Zhang Han nodded and said calmly, he would have dealt with them even if he hadn't advanced to a higher stage, because sometimes, a terrible life and death battle will enlighten a cultivator. Besides, the method I taught him would help him a lot. I see. Zhang Feng grinned and said, I called him several times and heard Miss Liu's voice. They seem to be good friends now, but I'm a little worried about him. It doesn't matter as long as they treat each other sincerely. As a member of our security team, he is as good as anyone else. Zhang Han looked at Meng Meng, who was in the pet area, and smiled happily. The whole security group was well organized and trained, and all the members would soon advance to the Grandmaster stage. Then the Golden Mortal School would be virtually impregnable. Maybe it would develop into a powerful force or an influential sect. Zhang Han finally understood how to make a sect rise. This kind of thing actually came naturally, and its core was family. You are right, Master. Zhao Feng scratched his head and said with an embarrassed look, I've already had such an experience. Meng Kai's family is in favor of our relationship, but Meng Kai hasn't promised me yet, and I'm confused about her attitude, but our relationship is steadily improving. This period. Zhang Han smiled at Zhao Feng and said, it's a kind of special experience, enjoy it and stop following me all day. I enjoy my life now and don't want to change it. Zhao Feng replied, going to watch my brother's training in the company every day, and then coming here to have a rest before practicing the big dark devil shadow. At night, I usually get together with Meng Kai and her family. My life is wonderful, which I dared not imagine not long ago." Zhao Feng sighed with emotion and then fell into silence. 2 seconds later, he realized that he had something to tell Zhang Han. "Master, Uncle Ziqiang and Director Liu will go to Xinjin, their last destination, and come back in 2 or 3 days," Zhao Feng said. "I see." Zhang Han was worried and shook his head slightly. "I'm afraid I won't have much time to play Go with him this time. Ziqiang would be disappointed if he knew it." How lucky Xian was to get a well-matched rival, and he had never expected Zhang Han to be absent because of his daughter's show when he came back. However, Zhang Han would be free at night. At 7 o'clock in the afternoon, Xian called Zhang Han, telling him that she had got on the helicopter and would arrive in 40 minutes. So Zhang Han began to prepare the ingredients for the hot pot in advance. Xian loved hot pot and so did Meng Meng, therefore, the three of them often had hot pot at home. After a while, Xian went back in Zhaf's Bugatti, and they directly went upstairs to the 5th floor. "Is everything ready, HMPH?" Xian looked at Zhang Han like a queen, but she failed to hide the smile on her face. After making a comment, she went to wash her hands with Zhaf. Zhang Han hurried to stand up when Xian again appeared. He pulled Xian's chair out a little and said in a low voice, "Sit down please, my queen." Meng Meng was confused and looked up at Xian. "Mama, when did you become a queen? Then who am I?" You are my princess." Zhang Han made a bow with hands folded in front. "So, my papa is the king, you are the king, sit down please." Meng Meng waved her small hands, and it seemed that she enjoyed the drama so much. "Ha ha." Xian burst out laughing and rolled her eyes at Zhang Han. Then they began enjoying the dinner. Xian slowed down when she was half full. "Guess who I encountered today?" Xian asked Zhang Han. "Who?" Zhang Han turned his gaze at Xian in confusion. "One of your old classmates." It might be an excellent old classmate of Xian who came to pursue her and looked down on Zhang Han. However, as long as Zhang Han showed some of his strength, the old classmate would be scared by him and apologize to him. It was a boring farce in Zhang Han's eyes. It was not interesting at all. Zhang Han would throw that man away without listening to him. "What are you thinking about?" Xian shook her head. "No. Great, it is different from what I thought." "Luz of Dynasty Entertainment," Xian replied directly without keeping Zhang Han guessing. "Who is Luz?" Zhang Han asked. "He helped me a lot last time. What a coincidence that I encountered him today during the assessment. But he was in Gafan's area and passed his strict examination, which proved his strength." Xian smiled. "How did he help you?" Zhang Han put down his chopsticks and wiped his mouth with a piece of tissue. "He told me the company planned to sell your song to another singer, so I went to ask Aunt Tang and Uncle Hong to confirm it, who told me that he was my fan and his words were true." "I see." Zhang Han nodded. He understood it. "After you'd left, I tested Sun Donging in the last round of assessments." Xian smiled and said, "He did a good job and advanced successfully. Brother-in-law, you'll take part in the single competition tomorrow and you should choose a song." Zif notified them, "It is actually another round of selection, and you'll pass the examination if you are favored by 2 or 3 mentors, or be eliminated if none of them vote for you. If you get only 1 vote, you'll be pending." I've discussed with the other 3 mentors and the director, who thought highly of Gafan's strict style and hoped that he would keep it. Therefore, he may refuse a lot of contestants tomorrow. The controversial star mentors were also under a lot of pressure, because once they made a mistake, their shortcomings would be magnified. All the mentors, including Xian, had made full preparation before taking part in the show and tried to be as professional as possible. "Well, Papa, Mama, I'm full." Meng Meng finished the last prawn that Zhang Han had offered her, put down her chopsticks, and mumbled, "Shall we have a rest? How about if we watch a film, How to Train Your Dragon? It is just been released, Xian suggested. What is How to Train Your Dragon? Meng asked curiously. It's an animated movie. Wow, Papa, let's watch it. Then the three of them went to the movie hall on the third floor with Zif to watch How to Train Your Dragon. How to Train Your Dragon is a high-quality animated film produced by DreamWorks Animation at a cost of $165 million. It was well received and had a high box office return in Hong Kong. Xian had planned to see the film 2 days ago, but until today she had been very busy. Therefore, the task of cleaning the table fell to Zhang Han's magic. Before they left the dining room, Zhang Han snapped his fingers to order all the utensils to return to their original positions. In the movie hall, while the family of three seated themselves on the middle sofa, Zif chose her favored sofa in the back. While watching the movie, Zif couldn't help frequently turning her gaze at the family of three. She envied them. But when can I find my partner? Zif recalled the old days when she was in junior high school, as well as that thin yet charming boy. There were always some periods, some memories, some things, and some friends that were unforgettable. Zif realized that she had already fallen in love with that boy, and she could also feel his love, but she was too young then to admit and face it. She would think of the boy occasionally, who was still a teenager in her memory. She didn't know what that boy looked like now, and it might be difficult for her to recognize him if they encountered each other one day. It was 10 o'clock in the evening when they finished watching the movie. After seeing Zif off, the family of three went back to their own house and fell asleep during Zhang Han's bedtime story. After putting Meng in her own small bed, Zhang Han went back to his king-sized bed. Xian was lying with her back to him. He hugged Xian from behind, leaned against her, and kissed her on the neck. HMPH. Xian pouted, turned around, and mumbled, I was jealous of that girl. Do you think I'm too sensitive? No, you're so cute. Zhang Han scratched Xian's nose slightly and replied, Am I cute? Xian's eyes widened as she grumbled coyly, Don't you know that the word cute is equal to stupid or ignorant for modern women? Yes, I meant it, Zhang Han replied frankly. I'll bite you. Xian began twisting her body, pretending that she was a snake. She is so hot. He hugged Xian and enjoyed her graceful posture and charming expression. I'll eat you, little fox. Zhang Han narrowed his eyes slightly. Xian let her eyes wander on Zhang Han, and then stuck out her tongue to lick her lips. What? Do you want me to eat? She said in a charming voice. Swish. Zhang Han couldn't remain calm anymore. GLCK. He struggled to gulp, carrying Xian in his arms. He went into another bedroom, closed the door, and began enjoying his feast. Zhang Han was so excited now. Xian was really a versatile wife. After the 1-month training, Xian was no longer a green hand. They tried lots of skills and positions, which greatly satisfied Zhang Han. She was a feast for him alone. The next day, in addition to changing his coat into a cowboy hoodie, Xian dressed Zhang Han in a style similar to yesterday. After sending Meng to school, they went back to their company and then flew to the shooting site with Zif and Zhao Feng by helicopter. When Zhang Han arrived at the site, most of the other 99 performers were already there. Sun Dongying hurried to welcome Zhang Han as soon as he appeared. Boss, I passed the assessment too, Sun Dongying said excitedly. The song I'm going to sing today was composed and written by some of my fans, and I'm sure it will be successful. Well, come on. Zhang Han chuckled. Then he sat down with Sun Dongying at the corner of the waiting area. They were in a hall with step seats designed to hold 150 people, so there was enough room for the 100 competitors here. The assessment area was in the front of the hall and they could see a large screen and 3 sofas on the stage. Attention please. The assessment today is single competition. The mentors will press the red button for songs that don't satisfy them, and the word failure will appear on the corresponding top electronic screen, and if they don't press the button, the screen will show pass. While the players who get 2 or 3 passes will pass the assessment directly, those get no passes will be eliminated. As for those get 1 pass, they will be pending. Now let's welcome the 4 mentors. The 4 mentors stepped onto the stage one by one. While Xuanhuan and Dao shared 1 sofa, Gafan and Xian got a small sofa respectively. After the 4 of them sat down, Chengzu, the director, announced, before the competition, "I want to thank XXX200 Smartphone, our exclusive sponsor, and Felling and Rhinitis Doctor, our special sponsors." Okay, the single competition begins. After he finished speaking, the audience members heard another man's low voice similar to that of the male radio host. The first performer is Alan, a famous live streamer from Little Bear Platform, who has 9 million fans. Okay, let's welcome Alan. As soon as he finished introducing him, laughter burst out from the preparation room. A man with long hair walked to the side door with a slightly unhappy look. Then he went down the steps to the stage on the first floor. When he walked toward the stage, lots of people began teasing him. A live streamer? Wow! 9 million fans? I'm frightened. How dare he take part in the show? It's useless. Alan's face changed many times before he stared back at the other performers, and then he strode out of the waiting area. His expression provoked the other contestants. A short-haired man with a flat head and thick lips sneered, "The show needs cannon fodder like him." Hearing what he had said, 2 of the cameramen aimed their camera at him, who was happily interviewed. Looking at the camera, he curled his lips and complained, "For all the live streamers, I advise you not to take part in this show and shame yourself. Do you know music? Why not stay in your room and sing for your fans?" He paused and then said in a louder voice, "I also want to tell all the idols, models in the hall, as well as those who possess widespread society resources, remember that it is a competition and wait for me to kick your ass." All the contestants and audience members fell into silence after hearing what he had said. Many of the professional singers turned their gaze at the idols in the hall, whose faces darkened. It was common to see professional singers exclude those not in their circle. What's wrong with the live streamers? He is even not qualified to be a live streamer. Sun Dongying sneered and then whispered in Zhang Han's ear, "Boss, that short-haired man is Yan. He is a famous singer in their circle with great strength, and lots of people believe that he will be the champion." "I see," Zhang Han replied. He was here to accompany Xian, and he didn't care who would win the championship. The man on his left is TQ, Yan's worst enemy. TQ is also powerful, and this time he will compete against Yan for the championship, but neither of them is better than my boss. That man wearing a headscarf is Luz, the best known idol. How dare they tease all the idols including Luz, they are so arrogant. Sun Dongwon complained angrily. When Sun Dongying was about to introduce the other candidates for Zhang Han, Alan stepped onto the stage and the audience calmed down. After Alan greeted all the mentors, Xuanhuan picked up a microphone and asked him, "How long have you been a live streamer?" 3.5 years. Alan was so nervous that there was sweat on his palms. He suddenly felt thirsty. "You've been singing, right?" Xuanhuan was interested in the young man. "Yes," Alan replied. "How much do you know about the ABCs of singing?" Diehua took over the microphone and asked. Well, Alan hesitated for a while, and then told the truth. "I've learned a little, and I'm still studying it." He was not very confident, and all the mentors realized that he had just begun to learn the relevant knowledge recently. "Okay, I'm looking forward to your performance." Diehua lost his interest in Alan and signaled for the young man to begin. Alan chose Xian's actor. He was going to sing a revised version of this song with his special skill. However, as soon as he began singing, "Be simple, make it simple when you tell me," before he reached the high-pitched part of this song. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The 3 groups of mentors pressed their button almost at the same time, and 3 eliminated signs on the screen above their seats were lit up. Alan left the stage with a pale face. He sang faster than the music. His voice was shaking, and he failed to control his rhythm. Then the four mentors gave their brief comments. In the preparation room, Yan patted his forehead and said sarcastically, "Shame for this live streamer. He might as well have not come here. He was terrible." The other performers near Yan echoed him. Soon after, the host's low voice sounded again on the stage. "Let's welcome the second singer, Yan. He comes from..." There was cheering in the preparation room. Yan stood up and walked out of the room. At the door, he looked back and said loudly, "Look at me, you live streamers and idols." He was so arrogant. Sun Donging almost jumped up. If Zhang Han were not here, he would have begun cursing Yan. On the stage, Yan pretended to be a quiet young man when he greeted the mentors and chatted with them. Then he sang "See the World" indifferently. He did a good job and all the mentors kept nodding while listening to him. However, when Yan was about to finish the song, Fan frowned and then pressed his button. Finally, Yan passed with 2 votes, while Fan thought his last line was out of tune. Really? Isn't he too strict? They are not in a studio. Is it necessary to be so strict? Many people in the preparation room felt pity for Yan, who should have passed the examination with all 3 votes. Yan didn't say much about the result because he did make mistakes while singing the last line. The next group of 12 competitors stepped onto the stage one by one. Unfortunately, none of the 12 singers performed well. While 8 of them got 1 vote, 3 of them were eliminated directly, and only 1 passed the assessment with 2 votes. None of them passed with 3 votes. Many people in the preparation room began worrying about themselves. Fan almost refused all the singers, who made the competition more difficult than they had thought. Finally, they once again heard the host's voice. "Let's welcome the 15th performer. I'm cute. He is so secretive that we didn't get any information about him." So he just introduced Zhang Han with a few words. The competitors in the preparation room began looking around and discussing with the others. "I'm cute, she must be a girl. What a special name. The show is so amazing that I have never seen so many weird people before." Most of the curious performers regarded I'm cute as a cute girl. Therefore, when Zhang Han stood up and went downstairs, they were all stunned. Even TQ, who was in silence all the time, took a glance at the young man in confusion. Zhang Han was wearing sunglasses and a cap, so they could only see part of his face and guessed that he might be handsome. Almost all the audience was focusing on Zhang Han because of his name. After Zhang Han left the room, Yan frowned. "Another funny idol? I'm afraid that he will be eliminated as soon as he opens his mouth. You are talking the greatest nonsense." Sun Donging stood up and pointed at Yan. "When can you stop teasing others? Are you talking to me?" Yan widened his eyes and also stood up along with 3 of his friends. "Sit down, please." The staff member in the room scolded them. "You are in a competition, please mind your words and behavior." Though Sun Donging and Yan were forced to sit down, they kept staring at each other. Tong Jiejia bit her lips and then said, his voice was nice, and it was Mentor Yan who put the golden chain around his neck herself. Even Mentor Zuo Dong attempted to steal him from Mentor Yan. Swish, swish, swish. Her words changed many people's faces. Yan calmed down and decided to rejudge the young man. Though he was arrogant, he respected every rival well matched in strength with him. Chapter 514. The Burning Stage. However, did this young man deserve Yan's respect? Yan was still doubtful about I'm Cute's strength. Ziyan put the golden chain around his neck. Zuo Dong tried to steal him from Ziyan. Well, maybe he also possesses widespread society resources. TQ, the cool man sitting on the innermost side, also lost his interest in that weird young man. One of his friends sitting near him had the same idea as Yan. He whispered in TQ's ears, maybe he possesses widespread society resources and thus attracted Mentor Zuo Dong. Society resources? TQ smiled indifferently. He didn't want to talk about this topic anymore. Everyone here has his or her own society resource, more or less. There were few people or things that could interest him, but he seemed to be attracted by Xian and took a few more looks at her. Resting in the back seat, Luz looked at Zhang Han's back and was in a daze. Have I ever seen him before? Wait, Mr. Zhang? Luz had once seen part of Zhang Han's face and back in his company, and he heard that Xian had gotten married to Mr. Zhang, who was respected by every executive of his company. It was said that Mr. Zhang's position was very high. Maybe my eyes deceived me. Luz slightly shook his head. He denied his idea. Why would Mr. Zhang come to an entertainment show? That was how he missed the truth. Seeing Zhang Han's face on the screen, everyone in the preparation room calmed down. After going out from the right side door of the preparation room, Zhang Han went through another room, went down the stairs, and came to the door leading to the stage. On the right side of the stage door, there was a small cabinet with a microphone on it. Zhang Han picked up the microphone and waited for 3 seconds before the door opened. Glad to see you, mentors. Zhang Han stepped onto the stage, walked toward the center of it, and greeted the 4 mentors. Happy to see you again. Xuanhuan took the lead to reply to him with a smile, and then said, I'm cute, your name is so special, but it sounds like a girl's name, so I wonder if you chose the name yourself. Well. Zhang Han turned his gaze to Xian and said slowly, I got this name after a serious discussion. Xian was the only one who could feel the warmth in his eyes, which were blocked by his sunglasses. She pursed her lips and smiled. Why did you get this name? Xuanhuan was amused by Zhang Han. Xuanhuan liked Zhang Han and planned to give him more time to show his charm to the audience through talking for a little longer with him. Because my family members are cute, or cute and a little stupid, and I love them so much, Zhang Han chuckled and replied. Xian rubbed her nose in embarrassment. HMPH. Meng is cute, and I'm a little stupid, he must mean that. I wonder if your voice is as cute as your name, Diehua said calmly. Obviously, Diehua wanted Zhang Han to show his real strength. Xuanhuan smiled again and then turned his gaze at Diehua. He is a strong singer. I heard his song in the audition and I'm sure he is a dark horse. Many people in the preparation room were surprised by his words. Even Gafan raised his head. Since Mentor Xuanhuan spoke highly of you, I'm more curious about your real strength. You are going to sing I Love You, right? I've read the lyrics and they are pretty good, but I have never heard this song before. Did you write it yourself or is it someone else's song? To some extent, I wrote it myself. Zhang Han gave him an ambiguous answer. Though he copied the song from someone in his previous existence, he did write it down by himself. On the other side, Xian was attracted by the name of this song. I Love You, a song for me. Xian had tried in vain to get the name of Zhang Han's new song, and Zhang Han asked her to wait until the proper time. It looks like this guy wants to be romantic again. Thinking about it, Xian couldn't help taking over the microphone and smiling at Zhang Han. I'm looking forward to your performance. You can start now. Hearing Xian's words, Xuanhuan gave up talking with Zhang Han and signaled to him to start his performance. Zhang Han remained calm with the microphone in his hand. Music. He turned his gaze at the DJ on the right. A melodious short interlude. The happy melody brought happiness to everyone present. Then they heard Zhang Han's charming voice. No matter where I go, I can't stop thinking about you, honey. No one is more beautiful than you in my eyes. Singing Do Re Mi, I wrote down this song for you, letting the star solve the mystery in fairy tales. Zhang Han walked back and forth on the stage while singing the song. Anyone with a little bit of musical foundation could tell the difference between a good song and a bad one. Therefore, everyone realized that Zhang Han was a good singer as soon as he sang the first line. Besides, the melody of this song was very comfortable. All the singers in the preparation room fell into silence, including TQ and Aryan, who were all focusing on the screen. Knowing the song was a gift for her, Xian felt as if she had fallen into a honey jar. She couldn't help blinking her big eyes and looking at Zhang Han with love. While singing his song, Zhang Han slowly approached Xian. Before the next line, Zhang Han struck forward and pointed at Xian with his right hand. Everyone was stunned by his behavior. Zhang Han ignored them and continued to sing. "Oh my God, I've fallen in love with her and I'm expressing my feelings now. It is like magic and I keep hanging out on the street." As Zhang Han sang, he gently shook his arm towards Xian. "You are the cute girl I love so much. I'll fetch the stars for you. I'll pay all your bills." Zhang Han had remained calm while talking with the mentors, but now he turned into an outgoing big boy, who had captured Xian's attention with his moves and voice. Xian felt as if she was dreaming. She kept blinking her eyes in disbelief and covering her mouth with her right hand. She was shocked. But her eyes were lit up, which showed that she was overjoyed. "How happy and sweet my life is with his company." At the same time, the whole preparation room was boiling. "Oh, my God. He is great. Wow. So cool. Almost 90% of the singers felt their blood boiling and couldn't help screaming in excitement. "I'm Cute's" song was nice, and he was singing toward mentor Xian, which was so amazing. Even Yan, who looked down on almost all the singers, could not help applauding and cheering for Zhang Han. The whole stage and even the whole hall were burning. Such a successful stage performance was rare. It represented absolute strength, precise control over stage performance, and the high quality of the song. "Follow me to hang out, Hatasku, you are the only one I love in the world, and I'll never change my mind, I love you." Zhang Han finished the last line. The accompaniment stopped. Clatter, Diehua, Zuo Dong, Gafan, and Xian all began applauding. Zhang Han passed the assessment with 3 votes. However, no one cared whether Zhang Han would pass the assessment. Gradually, Diehua, Zuo Dong, and Gafan stood up while continuing to applaud. Xian hesitated for a while and didn't follow them. Instead, she looked at Zhang Han with shining eyes. She was sending speechless messages. "I'll reward you tonight." Zhang Han slightly raised his eyebrows. "What's the reward?" Xian gave him a meaningful smile. Zhang Han was cheered up and replied with a smile, "Got it." Zhang Han's effort was not in vain. The others didn't notice the silent communication of the couple. The whole preparation room was burning. "Just as I said, he is amazing. What a powerful singer. He is the first one to pass the assessment with 3 votes." Tong Jiajia stood up and applauded. "Boss, good job." Sun Dongying cheered. Hearing Sun Dongying's words, Luz took a glance at him and was astonished. "That's Mr. Zhang. My God, how could Mr. Zhang sing so well? No wonder he succeeded in chasing Sister Xian. He's amazing." At the same time, TQ, Yan, and their followers felt the pressure of being I'm Cute's rival while applauding for him. The mentors on the stage were also sighing with emotion. After a while, Diehua picked up the microphone and made his comments. "I'm surprised by this song. Everything was perfect. The wonderful song, his performance, and his singing skill. Just as Zuo said, you are a dark horse, and we felt as if it was your solo concert just now. I admire you and I'm willing to applaud for you." As soon as Diehua finished speaking, Gafan took over the microphone and said, "You are not cute at all." He paused for 2 seconds and then continued with a louder voice, "Maybe you should change your name to I'm Strong. The song was wonderful and I totally forgot it was a competition. Great." He couldn't help praising Zhang Han and again applauded for him. Looking at the other mentors, Zuo Dong smiled proudly. "I told you that he was amazing, but it turned out that he was even better than I had expected. In the first round of assessments yesterday, I tried in vain to persuade him to join my team, though he hadn't received Xian's golden chain then. Now I know it's true that he's come here for Xian. So what's the meaning of your song? Were you trying to express your love for Xian just now? Could you please tell us the truth?" All the mentors and audience members in the hall forgot the time, including the cameraman of the program team. who were busy capturing everyone's facial expression. Chengzu realized that he had found the theme of the first episode of the show. The breaking news. Hearing Xuanhuan's question, everyone in the preparation room widened their eyes. Under everyone's eyes, Zhang Han picked up the microphone and replied, "I was not expressing my love for her, we just wanted to show off in front of you." "No," Xuanhuan smiled and shook his head, "you can't say we unless you are Xian's boyfriend." All of a sudden, Xuanhuan was stunned. Diehua was stunned. And following them, Gafan was stunned as well. Chapter 515, Different Scripts. The three mentors realized that Xian hadn't said anything after "I'm Cute" began singing. They remembered that when Zhang Han was pointing at Xian while singing the line "I've fallen in love with her," Xian's eyes were lit up. At that time, they even felt the air was sweet. Recalling what had happened, they were all astonished by the possible truth. It's frightening. It seems that Xian has fallen in love with someone. What's going on? The three of them turned their gazes to Xian. "Xian, why not make some comment? He has just sung a song for you." Xuanhuan hesitated for a while, and then continued with a smile, "All of us felt his love for you. Do you think Mr. I'm Cute is trying to pursue you?" "Well," Xian's beautiful eyes blinked as she thought and replied, "Maybe, but the song made me happy and reminded me of something special." While saying this, Xian took a glance at Zhang Han and then added, "A special feeling only for myself." "What's that?" "Of course it's the happiness of loving someone and being loved by him." Ha ha ha. Both Xuanhuan and Diehua burst out laughing. Xuanhuan applauded and said, "I smell a rat." "Did you know each other before? Take a guess." Xian tilted her head and replied with a smile, "How can I guess?" Xuanhuan shook his head helplessly. "Xian, you seem to be well prepared for this question." Diehua, who had always been serious, made a joke and then looked at Zhang Han. "I'm Cute, I'll keep your name in mind." Xuanhuan again turned his gaze to Zhang Han, thought for a while, and then said, "Though you came here for the beautiful mentor, it's not necessary for you to join her team. Maybe you can try a devious route. You are a skillful singer with nice voice, and I'm sure we can cooperate to produce wonderful songs. Consider my suggestion if you are interested in it." Obviously, he still wanted to bring Zhang Han in-house. Zhang Han nodded. "Choose you? That's impossible." Cough. Gafan couldn't help making his own comment. "I've been studying Chinese pop music, hoping to introduce it to all over the world. Therefore, I'm looking forward to doing something big with you and sing our own pop songs in Chinese. Now that they are trying to pull you over to their side, should I say something?" Xian tilted her head as if she was really thinking about it. "No, certainly not. I already belong to you." Zhang Han chuckled and made a heart-shaped gesture to her. The other three mentors were again amused by him, but at the same time, they had a sense of crisis. It seems that Xian's team already has a champion candidate. He is so amazing. Seeing that they started chatting, Director Chengzi notified them, "Mentors." Xuanhuan realized that the show was going to continue, so he nodded and said, "Okay, next singer. Please, I'm looking forward to I'm Cute's performance in the next round." "Thank you." Zhang Han nodded and left the stage. After the host's introduction, the next candidate came onto the stage. Gafan, who was checking the singer's information on his tablet computer, suddenly stopped and called out to Xuanhuan and Diehua, "Have you noticed something strange? What's the matter?" Xuanhuan asked. "What I'm Cute sang just now was an original song written by himself." Gafan replied, "Yes, it's amazing." Both Xuanhuan and Diehua nodded. "He's come here for Mentor Xian." Gafan alerted them. "Yes, I already know that," Xuanhuan replied. "It reminded me of Mentor Xian's best-selling album Forever, the songs of which were all written by the same person." Gafan slowly turned around, looked at Xian, and smiled. "Now I have a crazy idea." Hiss. The faces of both Xuanhuan and Diehua changed and they almost jumped up from their sofa. "This Hua's hand was trembling. Xian, is he that man? Oh, my gosh, Fan, you make me more convinced of my idea. It's incredible. If he is that man, he should be in our position now. Dong stared at Xian. Xian's smile froze, but she kept blinking her eyes, knowing that the other three wouldn't give up unless she answered their question. Xian thought for a while and replied with an innocent look, I don't know what you are talking about. You don't know? Dong was amused. All of us have heard Han Yang's name, but he only writes songs for you. What a coincidence that the dark horse who came for you has just sung a song as high quality as Han Yang's songs, which couldn't be written without difficulty unless he is Han Yang. Is he that man? You can tell us secretly. Fan was so curious about the truth that he whispered, well. Xian pointed to the next singer on the stage and asked the other three mentors, he has been standing there for 1 minute, shall we assess him first? Finally, you see me. That poor singer almost wanted to cry. I was completely ignored. But what worried him the most was Zhang Han's performance, which was so excellent that every singer following Zhang Han felt more stressed. And he, as the next singer after Zhang Han, was the unluckiest one. He was helpless. Now that Xian had changed the topic, the other three mentors all laughed, shook their heads, and stopped asking her questions. They were moderate in the conversation, or it would begin to be beyond a joke. However, those in the preparation room had heard their conversation and seen their expressions. Everyone except for Sun Dongwang was excited by the mentor's idea. Wow, really? He is Han Yang? It may be true. His song was amazing. Maybe it was arranged by the program team. Han Yang is actually the fifth mentor, and he will be Xian's partner in the following rounds. TQ, sitting on the far left of the first row, was annoyed by the discussion. He had also planned to sing such a song for Xian, but Zhang Han's performance stole the show. He felt as if he had swallowed a fly. Hearing these words, he could not help contradicting them. Stop making wild guesses. He can't be Han Yang, or he would appear as a mentor instead of taking part in the audition. I admit that he did a good job, but this is not proof that he is Han Yang. It's ridiculous. The whole room suddenly fell into silence. That was not because of TQ's words, but because Zhang Han got back from the stage. Everyone turned their gaze to Zhang Han. They were looking at him in a different way from before. Several minutes ago, they looked at Zhang Han with contempt, curiosity, suspicion, and encouragement. Now, there were surprise, admiration, worship, and seriousness in their eyes. Obviously, they had totally changed their minds. Therefore, in this atmosphere, a few minutes passed very slowly. The next singer finished his song. It didn't immediately occur to many people that his performance was over. Did he sing a song? Of course, he did. But almost no one remembered his song until they saw that the poor singer got 1 vote. Even the 4 mentors were embarrassed. I'm Cute's song was so good that they were unable to be attracted by any other songs for the time being. The poor singer's voice was nice, but his song was not better than average with some glitches. Therefore, Xian decided to give him another chance and voted for him. After the poor singer left the stage, following him, dozens of singers began their performance one after another, but most of them made mistakes because they were so nervous. This led to a somewhat low pass rate, with only 6 of the 18 people passing, but one singer still got 3 votes. It was Tong Jiajia. Though she was nervous as well, she managed to calm down and outdid herself on the stage. The number 51 singer, TQ, is from Dark Tribe Media, and his song Goddess of Love has gotten 30 million hits. Let's welcome TQ. TQ in a white hat, white casual coat, black jeans, and white shoes went onto the stage. Hello, mentors, I'm TQ. TQ greeted all the mentors. TQ, I've heard of your talent and watched your MV. You are an all-round singer. Dong smiled. As a popular singer, do you feel stressful on this stage? Hua picked up his microphone and asked. I have no stress at all. Because I'm here to show myself, TQ replied calmly. Some singers shook their head at TQ's words. Only those with real strength had such a good mentality. I have seen your MV recently. Xian smiled and imitated several hand movements from that MV. The dance of the song is very innovative. Come on. Okay, thank you. I also have some words for mentor Xian. TQ turned his gaze to Xian. I love you, too. I have also prepared a song for you, and it's called You're the Most Beautiful. Though someone's performance stole the show, it doesn't matter, and I'll burn the stage again with my song. Then he looked at the DJ and ordered, music. However, as he turned around, he didn't notice that Xian's face had changed within 3 seconds. She was annoyed by the arrogant singer. I'm a mentor, how can you make fun of me at will? Xian's favorable impression of TQ had fallen. Hearing TQ's words, the other singers in the preparation room cheered. They were looking forward to TQ's song and its possible effect. You're the most beautiful in my eyes, and every smile of yours makes me drunk. TQ began singing for Xian full of tender affection. Though the song was an adapted version, it had few differences from the original version and was thus not special. Your bad temper, your kindness, and your pouting when you are angry. Though he was singing with gusto, the song made Xian uncomfortable. Bang! Xian pressed her button without hesitation. The small screen above her showed eliminated. TQ was stunned. He was on the verge of panicking. How can her attitude be different from that just now? When that man was singing, Xian seemed to be enjoying his song. Because he was absent-minded, TQ was 2 beats slower when he sang the next line. Although he immediately realized this and accelerated, he failed to stop Gafan from pressing the button and eliminating him. The 2 eliminated signs made Gafan even more nervous with a flush on his cheeks. How could I, TQ, be pending? He was too flustered to control his emotions and voice, and again made some mistakes. Diehua and Xuodong looked at each other. Then Diehua pressed their button. TQ was thus eliminated. Boom. TQ stopped singing with chaos in his mind. He was a little angry at the same time. Why are my scripts different from that man's? Chapter 516, You are going to die again. TQ was eliminated. Everyone in the preparation room was stunned. Many of them hurried to stand up and cried out in surprise. How could he be eliminated? That's incredible, but he did make serious mistakes. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed that TQ was singing just now. He could do nothing about the result, but it was understandable that he failed to remain calm on stage. What a pity. TQ would have been in the top 5 if he had performed anything close to his true form. A long-haired man kept shaking his head toward the camera. Everyone tried to make their own comments in front of the camera, hoping to show their unique viewpoint to the audience and gain popularity for themselves. For the singers who had the ability to advance, the program team would give them special shots, while other singers could only rely on their own comments to attract the audience. Therefore, they were all discussing the competition enthusiastically. Ha ha. Yan sneered and said casually, to win the competition, you can depend on nothing aside from your own strength. Have you seen that I'm cute gained 3 votes with his excellent performance? There is no excuse for TQ being eliminated. Maybe he should go back home and practice singing for several more years. Hearing Yan's taunt, TQ's friends in the room were all embarrassed, but they were unable to defend TQ since Yan was telling the truth. TQ did make mistakes. Even TQ himself didn't know what had happened. He had made full preparation for the performance today. He had planned to show his strength in the high part of the adapted song. He was so confident. This adapted version should have been much better than the original song. Although the first half of the song was flat, it was to set off the climax. But he failed to reach the climax. There was only one reason for it. Xian had pressed the button to eliminate him before he made any mistakes. It distracted him and led to his mistakes. Why did I get such a result? TQ was at a loss as he looked at Xian in confusion. He was a little angry since he couldn't figure out the reason. He said, trying to grasp a gleam of hope, I want to know why Mentor Xian pressed her button before I reached the climax of my song. Swish, swish, swish. After TQ raised the question, everyone's gaze turned to Xian. There was no expression on Xian's face when she picked up the microphone and replied without hesitation, because I'm a mentor here. Just because you are a mentor here? TQ's expression froze. He could do nothing but gnash his teeth. Though he liked Xian, he cared more about his career and prospects. I'm eliminated? I can't be eliminated. I have the patronage of the powerful. How can I be eliminated? He soon calmed down and intended to have a short talk with the mentors before going back. However, Xian frowned and repeated, yes, because I'm a mentor here, and I have the right to eliminate you. All singers, including you, please keep in mind that I don't want to see any kind of opportunistic behavior on the stage. Just try your best to sing your songs. I don't mind if you sing a song for me, and I'll even applaud you if you do a good job. But you made me sick with your disgusting expression and poor singing skills, and thus I couldn't let you pass the assessment. By the way, Xian took an indifferent glance at TQ and smiled. There was nothing special in your song, and it didn't move me at all. Boom. TQ became tongue-tied and again went blank. Xian's words were like a thunderbolt out of the clear sky. How long has it been since I was criticized? How long has it been since I was criticized in public? She is furious. Zhang Han's mouth twitched slightly. All right. Just let her vent her anger, and soon her mood will be better. He knew that Xian was unhappy because of him. But he was not angry at all. The fuse was just a song, and Zhang Han knew that Xian belonged to him no matter how many songs that guy on the stage would sing for Xian. The other mentors fell into silence after Xian made her comments. Well, they didn't know what to say for the moment. After thinking for a while, Gafan turned his gaze at TQ and said, Mentor Xian's comments make sense. We hope that singers can only integrate their emotions into their songs, rather than express them in other ways. Okay, next singer, please. Xuanhuan took the opportunity to change the topic. TQ took his final glance at the four mentors, nodded at them, and then left the stage. At this point, the atmosphere in the preparation room was very muted. The next singer was Sun Dongying. Boss, it's time to show my talent. Sun Dongying walked toward the stage with great confidence. Zhang Han took the opportunity to text Xian. Xian's cell phone was kept in the staff area, where Zif was taking a rest. Seeing the name of her brother-in-law, Zif thought for a while and then went to the mentor area from a side door and gave Xian her phone. After checking the message, Xian blinked her big and beautiful eyes happily, and then gave the phone back to Zif with a smile on her face. HMPH, he is good at coaxing me. Yo, hello, mentors, I'm Abktfk, Ardong. Wow, are you a rapper? Xuanhuan guessed since he hadn't checked the singer's information yet. Yo, I'm just pretending to be one. Sun Dongying took off his cap to show his dreadlocks. After making a rapper's signature gesture, he explained, I don't know much about rap, but I'm going to sing a rap song today, which is a gift written by my fans. Hearing Sun Dongying's words, Xian raised her head and nodded at him. Your hairstyle is special. Of course it is, thank you for your praise, goddess mentor. Well, I'm going to begin, DJ and drummer, let's go. After the staff on the right received the instruction, the rhythmic bass accompaniment started. Sun Dongying began singing and dancing with accompaniment. Well, I want to drive a sports car, a Ferrari, and I want lots of money, but I must rely on myself. Zhang Han was surprised by the song that was very popular in his previous life. He had never expected that it was Sun Dongying who had sung the song first. At the same time, Sun Dongying's performance lifted him up in the eyes of the other singers in the preparation room. The live streamer is better than the other amateurs, Yan commented. while the others were talking about the new singer. At the back door of the hall, TQ was smoking sullenly, while the music director of the show was standing in front of him. "Uncle, I don't know why the mentor was disgusted with me. I had made full preparation for the performance, but I'm cute gained the initiative. Moreover, Xian didn't even give me a chance to reach the climax of my song, or I might have won the competition against that man." The more TQ thought about it, the angrier he got. "Stop dreaming. Even if you had finished your song, you wouldn't have beaten him." Director Gao frowned and said, "His identity is controversial and we'd better stop talking about him. I'm going to persuade Xuanhuan and Diehua to let you pass, but I can't help you in the following competition. Hope you are serious about it." The music director was about to leave after notifying TQ. TQ hurried to smile at him and promised, "Don't worry, uncle, I'll change my attitude. I'm so confident to have you here." The music director took a glance at TQ and then left without saying anything. He had planned to pave the way for TQ, but he had never expected to need to turn to interpersonal networking so soon. He was not the director of the show, and he didn't have the right to decide everything. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the single challenge was over. 47 singers passed the assessment, with 9 of them getting 3 votes, and the most impressive song was still "I'm Cute, I Love You." 30 singers were eliminated, and the remaining 23 singers were pending. According to the arrangement of Chengzu, the director, the number of past singers should be 50, therefore, each mentor group could revive a singer. However, when the audience turned their gazes to the preparation room, they found one more person there, and the number of singers was 24 now. All the 23 singers were staring at the special one. It was TQ. Yan sneered and mumbled, "Shame on him." His voice was low and faint. Though Yan looked down on TQ, he knew who TQ's supporter was and didn't want to get himself in trouble. The other singers couldn't help discussing in surprise. Hasn't TQ been eliminated? How could he come back? At this time, Xuanhuan forced a smile, and then picked up his microphone. "First of all, I want to say sorry to TQ for my mistake. While assessing him and discussing it with Diehua, I pressed our button by mistake and thus eliminated him, and we decided to give this promising singer another chance after discussing it with the program team. Therefore, Diehua and I chose to revive him." Hearing Xuanhuan's declaration, TQ's friends began cheering and applauding. Xian didn't say anything about the result. She was not interested in TQ. Xian and Gafan chose 2 prospective singers who didn't perform well because of tension. After the reviving section, Director Chengzu stepped into the preparation room, took over the microphone and said slowly, "Just now, each of you got a score from 49 other singers, and the singers with higher scores in today's competition can choose their rival in the next round of single competition. You have 36 hours to prepare your song, and only the winner can advance to the following round of competitions. That is to say, half of you will be eliminated in the next competition round." All the singers fell into silence. Here came the best part of the show. "I would like to announce your scores. Number 1 is singer I'm Cute. His score is 9.7 because of his special song I Love You. Let's welcome I'm Cute to choose his competitor in the next round of single competition." Hearing the director's words, Zhang Han stood up and checked the time. It was 3:10 p.m., and there was not much time for him to stay here. Therefore, he hurried to step onto the stage and took a glance at the other singers. The others got even more nervous. Zhang Han was still wearing his sunglasses and no one could see his eyes. Every singer thought that Zhang Han was looking at them. Is he going to choose me? No, spare me please. Don't look at me, brother, don't look at me. Their hearts raced uncontrollably. Even the other prospective singers were trying to avoid Zhang Han's gaze and shaking their hands at the camera. I'm Cute? No, I can't compete with him. He is a volcano and we'd better keep away from him. It was true that no one wanted to approach Zhang Han. To their relief, Zhang Han just took a few glances at him and then announced, I want TQ to be my competitor. Zoom. TQ's friends were shocked by him. Great. Yan's eyes lit up as he burst out laughing. The others also sighed with relief. Then they began looking at TQ meaningfully. Wow, brother, you've just been resurrected, but you're going to die again. Chapter 517, Special Reward. Under the other singers' gazes, TQ grinned, stepped onto the stage, and stood 1 meter away from Zhang Han. In the mutual evaluation, TQ ranked 5th with a score of 9.2, therefore, it's a competition between number 1 and number 5, Director Cheng Zhu announced. Hearing Cheng Zhu's words, everyone became excited. TQ is going to compete with the most prospective singer in this show. Let's wait and see. I'm afraid TQ will be eliminated. All the mentors are wondering whether I'm cute as Han Yang, which proves that he is powerful enough to eliminate any rivals. I'm so lucky that he didn't choose me. Xuanhuan and Diehua were smiling, though TQ's resurrection was not justified. He really had the ability to be one of the top singers in the preparation room, and everyone was looking forward to their competition. While all the singers were discussing, Cheng Zhu asked Zhang Han and TQ if they wanted to say something. The others again fell into silence. While swaying his body rhythmically, TQ picked up the microphone, took a glance at Zhang Han and the other singers, and said, "Thank all the mentors for giving me another chance. I'll seize it and prove my ability with my best song. I, TQ, am still the best singer, and I don't care about any dark horse." No, no, no. Many singers cheered at his words. At least TQ was good at talking big. Then everyone turned their gazes to Zhang Han. Even Cheng Zhu was expecting him to say something cheerful. To their disappointment, Zhang Han just calmly shook his hand and said nothing. He stood emotionless as he heard TQ's words. The others couldn't help sighing with emotion. Only such a strong person had the confidence to ignore TQ. Obviously, Zhang Han chose TQ in order to eliminate him once again. TQ also knew it, but he could do nothing to change Zhang Han's mind. He felt angry and helpless under great pressure. He felt both excited and nervous. Okay, you two can have a rest now. Let's welcome the number 2 singer, Tong Jiejia. Wow! Many singers and audience members were surprised. They had never expected this girl to rank 2nd. Her performance and her sweet voice left a good impression on the others. Even Tong Jiejia felt a little surprised. She came on stage a little nervously, scanned the crowd carefully, and then chose a normal singer. Yang ranked 3rd in the mutual evaluation, and he was only 0.1 point less than Tong Jiejia. The following 23 singers began selecting their opponents one after another according to their own plans, though Yan wanted to compete with Luce. He finally chose another idol in the top 20, who was relatively weaker than him, to make sure he could win the next round. On the contrary, some singers chose an opponent well matched in strength with them to attract more attention. At 3:30 p.m., the show was over. All singers and mentors were going to be interviewed after the competition. But Zhang Han ignored all the reporters. After taking a look at Zhang Han checked his watch and told Cheng Zhu, "I have something to do and I must go now. Don't you want to be interviewed? More audience members will know you." Cheng Zhu was surprised. Zhang Han shook his head slightly and left the hall. Many people felt sorry for him. As the most prospective dark horse in the show, he refused to be interviewed after the competition, so he comes here not for fame or wealth. Yes, according to the brand of the clothes he wears, he must be very rich, so he just comes here to enjoy the show, or is he here to pursue the beauty? All the singers and audience members turned their gazes to Xian in confusion. After Zhang Han went out for a minute, Xian pursed her lips and said, "Director, I also have something to do, an important interview after the competition. Can I supplement today's recording the day after tomorrow?" "Well, okay, I planned to invite you all out for dinner tonight." Cheng Zhu smiled. "Maybe next time." Xian smiled, picked up her purse, and left with Zif. Looking at the back of Zhang Han and Xian, Xuanhuan smiled meaningfully. Xian was in a hurry to leave after I'm Cute left the hall. but she insisted that she doesn't know him. Can I trust her? I'm also questioning his identity. Diehua shook his head. They felt that the man was likely to be Han Yang, or at least a professional musician and one of Xian's friends. A professional musician. He thought that man was the most likely to be Han Yang. Taking a glance at Cheng Zhu, he sighed and smiled. I wonder if he was arranged by the program team as a surprise. I think so. Gafan nodded to agree with him. I've seen the recording of his performance twice, and he had perfect control over rhythm and singing skills. Both him and his song were impeccable, so I dare not guess any more. Most of the singers and audience members were stunned by the three mentors. Really? Could he be Han Yang? Damn it, how could such an amazing musician come here to compete with us? Is it true? We'd better surrender as early as possible. We can't be the champion. Sun Dongwen couldn't hold back a suppressed giggle. I know the truth, but I won't tell you. Luz also remained calm, but he was actually talking to himself. Yes, he is Han Yang, and you'll recognize him within several days, and your championship helps will be dashed by him. Everyone wanted to be the champion, but first they had to go through all kinds of tests of their skills. Tong Jiejie was also confused. Oh my gosh, I'm cute is likely to be Han Yang. I've chatted with him for such a long time. Gradually, all the people remaining in the hall turned their gaze to Director Cheng Zhu. They wondered if he could give them a convincing explanation. However, Cheng Zhu shook his head helplessly. I don't know, either, but... His eyes lit up as he said, I'll send someone to make some investigations. Okay, let's start the post-match interviews, and you can go back to the hotel by yourself afterward. Tomorrow we will have a day off, and you can go around Shenzhen. Remember to bring your cell phone with you, or we will lose touch with you. Cheng Zhu notified the singers before the post-match interviews. At the same time, Zhang Han and Xian were in the helicopter going back to Hong Kong. Wow, brother-in-law, you are amazing. Though I am a layman, I was intoxicated by your songs. In fact, you are here to show off how sweet your love is, right? Hearing the girl's words, Zhao Feng nodded seriously. I did smell the sweetness in the air. Xian was amused by them. Then she gave Zhang Han a meaningful glance. Well done, I'll reward you when we go back home tonight. Zhang Han replied with his eyes. Got it. After returning to their company, Zhang Han and Xian drove to St. Kindergarten to pick up Meng Meng. Xian didn't speak too much on the way. She spent most of the time browsing the news on her cell phone. Except for some sensational news, most of the news was about showbiz. Suddenly, Xian blinked her eyes quickly, took a secret glance at Zhang Han, and then typed in the search bar, how can a girl reward her boyfriend? While most of the search results were about sending gifts, Xian found some dirty jokes that she didn't understand. What do they mean? Lollipop, isn't it a kind of candy? Thinking for a while, Xian typed some new words in the search bar. This time, the search results were totally different. She began to read, one by one, what she had never read before. It was complicated. She saw someone on the internet saying, how many times a week? Relevant replies included, once, twice, once in half a month, once in a month, etc. Of course, she didn't believe the reply 13 times a night. It's nonsense. He needs an hour at the fastest time, and how many hours a night? She forgot that different people had different durations. In this way, as she browsed more and more content, the browser gave her more and more intelligent promotion messages, and she finally found something she had never known before. What's the meaning of crystal love? Oh my gosh, what's this? How could they do this? Looking at the news in the browser, Xian's heart beat faster and her face blushed. There are so many things I don't know. She was a little shy and uneasy, but at the same time, she expected to surprise Zhang Han and make him feel comfortable in a different way. Can I reward him in this way? He doesn't deserve it. Xian was in a dilemma. Thanks to the development of the internet, Xian got to know a lot of things she hadn't known before. The search results were, well, all-inclusive. Is it hot today? Zhang Han looked at Xian in confusion. Why is she blushing? No. Xian felt guilty under Zhang Han's gaze and hurried to shake her head. It's not hot. HMPH. It's not hot at all. Concentrate on your driving. Finally, Xian grumbled coyly. Xian's conduct was a mystery to Zhang Han. What is going on? Zhang Han stopped thinking about it since they had arrived at the kindergarten. They waited for a few minutes outside, and then entered the school to pick up Meng Meng. As soon as the little girl got in the car, she squished into Xian's arms and began chirping. They passed by New Moon Bay on the way back to Hangxian Pavilion. Honey, stop there. We should reward her with some snacks for her good behavior at school, Xian said when he saw the supermarket not far away. Great. Meng Meng was overjoyed. After parking the car, Xian put on her cap and sunglasses, and then the family of 3 entered the supermarket. A small bag of tomato chips, a small bag of this kind of candy, and this. No, you can't have this jelly. Xian glanced over the goods on the shelves and suddenly stopped. Let's try the crystal love jelly. We have enough puffed food and delicious fruit, and there is no need to buy more. Well, the task is done, let's go. The family of 3 went back to Hangxian Pavilion with a bag of snacks. Zhang Han went to the orchard in the back mountain to pick some strawberries, cherries, and apples. There were many kinds of fruits in the orchard, but at this time, only some common fruits were mature, and other high-quality fruit trees were still growing. After dinner, Meng Meng fell asleep at 10 in the evening. Zhang Han finally knew what Xian's reward was. Let's go to the other bedroom. Xian took the lead to invite him. Zhang Han's eyes lit up as he carried Xian in his arms. However, after they entered the other bedroom. Wait, I'm a little thirsty. Xian gently pushed Zhang Han away, opened the jelly on the bedside table and ate one. She opened another one, chewed it, and swallowed it. In this way, the small bag of jelly was soon half eaten. Well. Zhang Han looked at Xian in confusion. HMPH. Then he heard Xian mumbling, I'll reward you for your excellent performance today, lie down. Zhang Han was surprised. Then he turned his gaze to the jelly. He realized what Xian was going to do. He was excited and lay down without hesitation. Hiss. After a while, the bed in the bedroom began to shake rhythmically. At 9 o'clock the next morning, Xian just woke up, but she was still in bed. The whole program team had a day off today and she planned to stay at home. Several minutes after she texted Zhang Han went back to the bedroom. He had just sent Meng Meng to school. Get up, lazy bones. I'm going to make breakfast. Zhang Han smiled and said, I'm not hungry, we can skip breakfast. Come and lie in my arms. Xian patted the bed beside her. Zhang Han took off his coat, got into bed, and gave Xian a hug. By the way, I want to ask you some questions. Something suddenly occurred to Zhang Han. What's that? Xian took a glance at Zhang Han. When I reach the climax of the song, I feel that my voice is a little strange. It's too sharp and I want to make it a bit lower. I need a voice that's close to the female voice, but completely different from it. Zhang Han thought about it and replied, you want to learn a kind of falsetto close to the female voice, like that in Peking opera? Men usually sing with abdominal breathing, while women sing with chest breathing. Your nasal resonance, chest resonance, and aural resonance are not bad, so you just need to change the way you breathe during the climax of the song, Xian said. Let me give it a try. Zhang Han cleared his throat and made a voice similar to the female voice but sharper. Ha ha. Xian burst out laughing. You're really bad at controlling your breathing. After lying in bed and practicing for a while, Zhang Han went to make breakfast and Xian got up to clean the room. Zhang Han finished practicing the new skill at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. What kind of song requires falsetto? Xian asked. A special song, which will help me eliminate TQ. Zhang Han chuckled. Well, he just sang me a song, and you are so jealous of him. You men are all narrow-minded. Zhang teased Zhang Han. Well, yes, I'm narrow-minded, Zhang Han replied. He took part in the competition to accompany Zhang, and he didn't care about the result, but he was unwilling to be defeated by TQ. He had prepared this song for the third round of competitions and planned to sing a normal song in the second round. Therefore, someone was destined to experience a tragedy. At 10 o'clock the next morning, the hall was noisy at the beginning of the show. The first competition today was between I'm Cute, the dark horse, and TQ, who was said to be strong but hadn't shown his strength yet. TQ came to the hall early, and it could be seen that he was very confident about today's competition. Yan, in the crowd, was looking at them seriously. He had just gotten the news that the music director of this show gave TQ a high-quality song, and it would be not easy for I'm Cute to beat him. Obviously, the music director wanted to cultivate TQ at any cost. If TQ defeated Zhang Han, Yan would be arranged to compete with him in the following round, which was not good for Yan. The show began. Director Chengzi picked up the microphone and announced, "We've gone through online trials, auditions, and single challenges, and now there are only 50 singers left. In the next competition, you will compete in pairs, and the mentors will evaluate your performance and vote for the singers who can advance to the next round of competitions. The singers who win in this competition will be the top 25 singers on Chinese New Voice." The four mentors communicated with the singers after Chengzi finished speaking. Half of the singers will be eliminated today. What a fierce competition. Both singers in the first group are powerful, and I wonder if they will surprise us. Xuanhuan smiled at Zhang. "Zhang, what do you think about the first group?" "Me?" Zhang replied with a smile, "I'm just thinking about it." The other three mentors were amused by her. Then they heard the host's voice. "Next, according to the drawing sequence, the first group of singers is I'm Cute and TQ." Music signaled the entrance of the singers. Zhang Han in casual clothes and TQ wearing a leather jacket stepped onto the stage. "I'm Cute, I wonder if your new song will again surprise us," Xuanhuan smiled and said. "Maybe," Zhang Han replied. "TQ, are you nervous?" Xuanhuan asked. "Not at all." TQ was polite on the stage. "He is a strong singer and I feel so excited to compete with him." "I'm happy that you're not nervous. Try your best to show us two wonderful songs." Xuanhuan nodded at them. "Come on," Zhang said before the two singers started. Everyone knew who she was encouraging. TQ also knew it. According to the speed at which Zhang pressed her button the day before yesterday, it's impossible for her to encourage me. TQ could say nothing but sigh to himself. "Well, woman." Chapter 518. He is Han Yang. "Okay, let's begin." Gufan nodded with a rare smile on his face, and then he told Zhang Han, "According to the rule, I'm Cute will sing first. I've seen the name of your song and the lyrics." "Well, is it for Mentor Zhang again?" Zhang Han replied without hesitation, "I want to express my true feelings through some lyrics." Zhang Han's explanation was surprising. It aroused a new round of discussion in the preparation room. "My gosh, is he trying to pursue Zhang? It's dangerous." Zhang said that she doesn't like having jokes played on her, and he might be penalized for this song. "You haven't got it clear yet." Mentor Zhang is smiling with shining eyes. Maybe they have already known each other. The other mentors guessed that he was Han Yang. Remember? He is sure to go viral when the show goes on the air. Many people were sighing with emotion that up to now, I'm Cute, who was suspected to be Han Yang, was the most attractive singer. As they could imagine, it was most likely being used as a publicity stunt by the program division. Though Han Yang couldn't draw as much attention as before, the mysterious songwriter was still attractive to the public. No one could draw a conclusion before the truth came to the surface itself. For them, it was ridiculous for such an amazing songwriter to take part in such a competition as a contestant. Han Yang was at a higher position than all the competitors on the show, and it was unnecessary for him to go viral this way. all the contestants felt they were much closer to the truth. I'm looking forward to your performance. Gufan nodded and motioned to Zhang Han to begin. At one side of the stage, TQ found himself a chair and sat down. Zhang Han made an okay gesture to the DJ near him. In addition to yesterday's cap and sunglasses, he wore black slacks, white and red shoes, white short sleeves, and a light black jacket. Soon after, the accompaniment was heard, a melodious guitar prelude, which was short, lasting 11 seconds. At the 12th second, Zhang Han began singing with his deep and calm voice. We are crying, we are laughing, we look up at the sky, counting the stars. The deep voice and melodious music set off the feeling of emptiness. Though the lyrics were short, everyone present, including the mentors, felt as if they were listening to a concert. Zhang Han succeeded in affecting all the audience members with his stage performance, who were calmed down and attracted by his song. We are singing the song of time. Finally we know what the hug means. We know the reason for it. Silence. Both the song and the stage were peaceful. Instead of making body movements as he had done when singing I Love You, Zhang Han stood still and sang in a quiet way on the stage this time. While singing we know the reason for it. Zhang Han stretched out his hand at Xian, delivering his feeling. He's probably going to do the same thing as the day before yesterday. The audience's speculation was quickly denied by Zhang Han's next move, as if they were in a car that suddenly sped up from 30 to 300. It was not until this moment that Xian understood Zhang Han's purpose of asking her for singing skills yesterday. All of a sudden, Zhang Han's voice changed, which was now very close to a female voice. Because I just met you, and my memory will be decorated with our footprints. I cry for the falling flowers in the wind, for I don't want to leave. Because I just met you, and we made a 10-year appointment. Next time we meet, I will still remember you. What's going on? Zuo Dong, Diehua, Gufan, and Xian were all surprised by the change, and Diehua was looking incredulously at Zhang Han with his mouth open. No one was talking at this moment, and there was no other sound except for Zhang Han's singing in the whole program division and venue. In the preparation room, everyone, with goosebumps all over, gradually held their breath. We're crying, we are laughing, we look up at the sky, counting the stars, we are singing a touching song, and finally we know what the hug means, we know the reason for it. Then the soothing melody was heard again. Everyone was ready for the second round of emotional eruption. They held their breath in advance, waiting for the excitement. Zhang Han didn't let his audience down, and he soon reached the second apex of the song. Because I just met you, and my memory will be decorated with our footprints, I cry for the falling flowers in the wind, for I don't want to leave. Because I just met you, and we made a 10-year appointment. Next time we meet, I will still remember you. A sudden pause in the accompaniment. Then, like the surging waves, the continuous singing resounded throughout the stage. Because I just met you, and my memory will be decorated with our footprints. The audience felt as if they were caught in the throat by this shocking song. The last line of lyrics was, next time we meet, I will still remember you. Zhang Han's performance was over. It was over in such a peaceful way, but no one could wake up right away from the dream created by the song. 10 seconds passed. Diehua took the lead to stand up and applaud Zhang Han. Following him, Zuo Dong and Gufan hurried to stand up. Xian didn't move, but her eyes were lit up, with tears in them. He's my husband, and he sang this song for me. Why must I stand up to encourage him? Why not reward him tonight? Good, good, good. Diehua was trembling because of excitement, and while applauding Zhang Han, he couldn't help repeating good. You are marvelous, and I felt as if I was dreaming just now. It's amazing. Diehua marveled. He hesitated for a while, and then pointed to his seat. You are more suitable to sit here if you like. Seeing you on the stage, I feel that. You are here to play a game, Diehua said seriously. Then he again shook his head. Diehua's words detonated the whole preparation room. Both the quality of Zhang Han's song and his stage performance subdued Diehua. What was more important, Chengzi had told them something before the show. They were told the truth. The mysterious "I'm cute" was Han Yang. Xian asked Chengzu if he was sure about it. Chengzu said yes, since he had found that "I'm cute" was using the same email as Han Yang. Oops, I forgot that. The truth was discovered so soon, and it's not funny at all. Xian was a little upset, but she didn't mind it. On the other side, all the audience members were cheered up by Diehua's words, for they immediately understood what Diehua meant. Though Chengzu didn't want to release the news for the time being, the audience could deduce the truth from the mentor's words. Just as I said before, you are not cute at all, and you'd better be called "I'm strong." You've conquered me with this song. Xuanhuan smiled while applauding Zhang Han. Gufan smiled, pointed to Xian's sofa, and then turned his gaze to Zhang Han. I think we can have another person there, if you are willing to do so. I'm sincerely suggesting you, because the other singers will lose the chance to win the championship with you on the stage. Xuanhuan made his opinion clearly. He was actually telling the other performers that Mr. I'm Cute was much stronger than them, and they would not have any chance to win the competition. As for the music director standing near the side door, his face darkened, and there was sweat on his forehead. All his social relationships were wasted because TQ couldn't defeat Han Yang by any means. He had expected a mediocre performance from Han Yang. How could Han Yang be mediocre? The promising young man had never made a mistake on the stage. Everyone was shocked by his stage performance. All the music director's efforts were in vain. There was no chance for TQ. TQ would be eliminated not only for the gap between the two songs, but for the gaps in every aspect. TQ couldn't win the competition with Han Yang on the stage. The music director gave up on his nephew. He was depressed, but the others were cheering. Especially Chief Director Chengzi near him, who was grinning from ear to ear. Xian was so smart. How could she manage to invite such an amazing songwriter here? This show will go viral. It's wonderful. Thinking about this, Chengzi became even more excited. The three mentors' words detonated the preparation room. Have I heard it wrong? We won't have a chance to win the championship? How could it be possible, unless he is Han Yang? Swish. The whole preparation room fell into silence. Looking at each other, everyone realized that they had found out the truth. Their astonishment was captured by the cameraman. Xian, why not say something? Xian was still calm with a smile on her face, which amused Xuanhuan. Though we tried in vain to persuade him, your words might work. You can form a mentor team, or there won't be any suspense in the following shows. Xuanhuan suggested to Xian. Will my words work on him? I don't think so. Xian smiled. In her opinion, though Zhang Han was good at singing, it would be difficult for him to sit here all day as a mentor. All the mentors were required to work late, but Zhang Han had to leave when it was time to pick up Meng Meng. Therefore, Xian didn't give a direct answer to the question. Diehua took over the topic while looking at Xian. What's your comment on this song? What do you think about it? Well. Xian thought for a while, slightly tilted her head, and then turned her gaze to Zhang Han. A wonderful song, as was his singing skill. He must have a good teacher. She was actually playing a joke on Zhang Han, because she was the good teacher. But no one else could get her point. In their opinion, Han Yang was definitely taught by a good teacher. Zhang Han grinned after hearing Xian's comment. Wait, I have a suggestion. Gufan said, how about asking mentor Xian to take off I'm Cute's hat? Do you want to see who he is? Will it offend him? While speaking, Gufan kept looking at Zhang Han. It's up to her. Zhang Han shrugged casually. Wow, it's up to her. Xuanhuan, who was still smiling, clapped his hands and said with excitement, you have a better relationship than we thought. I'm curious about him. Mentor Xian, could you please satisfy our curiosity? No way. Xian smiled and shook her hand. That time has not yet come. and I'll satisfy your curiosity later. Why not turn our attention back to the competition? Well, yes, let's continue. Brother, I'm cute, please take a rest there, Gafan said politely. Gafan had more than 70 million followers on Weibo, and even more fans offline, but he still admired Han Yang and regarded the young man as a senior. Therefore, he naturally spoke to Zhang Han in a courteous way. At this time, TQ's face was ashen, who was still sitting in the side chair. Finally, you think of me. Why not keep ignoring me and chatting until it's dark? Is my performance still needed? TQ was utterly confused and seriously injured by the fact. What a poor man. Really? He is Han Yang, is he here to bully us? Han Yang's song still echoing in TQ's mind. After answering the mentor's questions at a loss, TQ unconsciously asked the staff to play his accompanying music. He was still in confusion. When the prelude was over and it was time for TQ to sing, he was still at a loss. When he was about to sing, he couldn't help looping Zhang Han's magic song in his mind. Because he was so desperate now, he even ignored the music director, who was standing not far from him and worrying about him. As TQ's uncle, the music director couldn't help cursing silently. Damn it, why can't you lose the competition in a more decent way? What are you doing on the stage? Holding the microphone tightly, TQ tried to sing his song, but he couldn't even make a sound. The cold sweat on his forehead was running down, even into his eyes, but he forgot to wipe it. He was at a loss and didn't know what to do next. 1 minute had passed. Well, TQ's condition. Xuanhuan reminded him. TQ came around with an ashen face, and then said in depression, sorry, I can't sing the song, I admit defeat, sorry. After saying that, he looked left and right for someone to take over the microphone. There was no one else on the stage, and TQ had to put the microphone on the ground and leave the stage awkwardly. His reaction was captured by the cameraman. What should be highlighted in this show? Chief Director Cheng Zi thought that everything deserved to be highlighted today. Han Yang himself would make this show famous. Let alone Han Yang's 2 songs and TQ's reaction. This winter, Silverfruit Video Company was going to release a super show. TQ left the stage. The other 3 mentors, except for Xian, forced a smile. Even Gafan began joking. Don't worry, you'll all behave like TQ when you are challenging him. Yes, I agree with you. Xuanhuan smiled. Even us mentors would be confused by him. Let me announce the competition result. Diehua picked up his microphone. In the first round of competition, I'm Cute defeated TQ. Congratulations, now you are among the top 25 of the first season of Chinese New Voice. Thank you. Zhang Han stood up, shook his hand at the mentors, smiled at Xian, and then turned around to leave the venue. When he was back in the preparation room, the whole room was in silence. Everyone was gazing at Zhang Han. 3 seconds later, they burst into thunderous applause. Wow! They began cheering for Zhang Han. Nice to meet you. You are wonderful. Nice to meet you, idol. Many performers realized that Zhang Han was Han Yang according to the mentor's hint. They admired Zhang Han and said hello to him politely. Zhang Han smiled, nodded, and sat down beside Sun Dongying. Good job, boss. Sun Dongying mumbled. Everyone in the room was discussing Han Yang, and they could not hear the sound outside. 1 minute later, the vice director rushed into the room. Yuanzi, brave bear, it's time for you to compete. Have you heard the broadcasting? I'm coming. They were awakened by the vice director and hurried to follow him. At the same time, they were so confused. It's true that we didn't hear the broadcasting. Chapter 519. He didn't choose me? The 2 singers had no confidence in winning the mentor's favor at all. Zhang Han's song left such a deep impression on everyone in the venue that they couldn't be interested in the other contestants for the rest of the show. The contestants who had not yet competed were under great pressure. They were afraid that they would be compared with Han Yang and would not get high marks. The mentors began chatting with the two singers on the stage to warm them up. On the other side, the preparation room was already warmed up. The remaining contestants were all discussing in a low voice. Are we right? Is he Han Yang? Should be. How I want to salute him and win his favor, then I'll go viral, too. So do I. But he keeps sitting in the corner and doesn't speak too much. I'm afraid that he doesn't want to be bothered. They were all talking about Zhang Han's identity. Hesitating for a while, Luz, who sat still, planned to have a chat with the promising singer after he was identified as Han Yang. As for Tong Jiejie, the girl was so curious that she immediately approached Zhang Han. Nice to meet you, Guru. Tong Jiejie seated herself beside Zhang Han. Though she was still nervous, she managed to calm down and ask Zhang Han, "Are you Guru Han Yang?" Before Zhang Han could reply to the girl, Sun Donging tut-tutted and began chatting the girl up as he usually did. "Sister, why not ask me? I know everything." Zhang Han chuckled and slightly shook his head. He began to watch Sun Donging's performance. "Why should I ask you? Do you know the Guru?" Tong Jiejie was confused. Everyone in the room turned their gaze to Sun Donging. Sun Donging replied in a casual way, No, I don't just know him." He shook his finger at the girl. "So what do you mean?" Tong Jiejie looked at Sun Donging curiously. "Don't you understand?" Sun Donging patted his head and said, "Come here and sit beside me, I'll tell you the details." "Well, I won't. What if you are a bad guy?" Tong Jiejie shook her head. Zhang Han was amused by the girl and shook his head. Tong Jiejie was a cute girl with a round face and big eyes, and it was easy for such a naive girl to attract and be tricked by skirt chasers, such as Sun Donging. Sun Donging would cry out a grievance if he could read Zhang Han's mind. Though he was a skirt chaser, it was impossible for him to pursue every girl. He just enjoyed flirting with them. That was it. Finally, Tong Jiejie was persuaded by Sun Donging, and sat down beside him. Then they began chatting. Their topic was gradually changed by Sun Donging, and he soon got some of Tong Jiejie's information. Though born into a wealthy family, Tong Jiejie was neither arrogant nor a spendthrift. She loved music and hadn't found herself a boyfriend while in university. Sun Donging didn't believe it at the beginning. It was hardly worthy of belief. Why couldn't such a pretty girl find a boyfriend in university? Didn't anyone pursue her? Hasn't she been attracted by anyone? But Sun Donging soon got the reason for it. It turned out that Tong Jiejie's parents were the vice chief and director of her university, and anyone who dared to pursue her would be scolded and punished seriously. While they were chatting, 10 groups of performers were assessed. Both Yan and Luz advanced to the next round of competition with their excellent performance. Though Luz's identity as an idol became his burden, he was encouraged by Ziyan and managed to defeat the professional singer in his group. The next group is Tong Jiejie, a junior from the Hongyang Conservatory of Music, and Qi Jiang, a singer from Northwind Media. "It's your turn, sister, come on." Sun Donging made a gesture to encourage Tong Jiejie. "I'm sure you will manage it. Come on." Zhang Han looked at the girl and smiled. "Thank you so much." Tong Jiejie walked toward the stage with great confidence. Tong Jiejie chose Qi Jiang as her competitor, though a weaker opponent would make it easier for her to win the competition. She didn't know the other competitors and thus made a random choice. She hadn't expected Qi Jiang to be a promising singer who had won several provincial and national awards. Though it would be a hard battle for her, Tong Jiejie and her family had made full preparation. She began to sing Spring Breeze in a soft voice. In the end, she won the competition 2-1. Going back to the preparation room, Tong Jiejie sat down beside Sun Donging without hesitation, smiling. After a while, it was Sun Donging's turn to compete. He was not nervous at all, for his opponent was weak. Although Sun Donging himself was not much stronger than the others, he would win the competition as long as he was better than his opponent. In the scoring process, Ziyan chose Sun Donging, and Gafan chose the other performer, leaving Xuanhuan and Diehua in a dilemma. They discussed it for 1 minute. Both the competitors on the stage were worrying. You are actually at the same level, but our Dong performed a bit better, so we choose our Dong. Diehua shrugged and smiled. Great. Sun Donging clenched his fist, shook hands with the other performer and encouraged him, and then left the stage. Boss, I'm also among the national top 25, ha. Sun Donging went back to his seat beaming with joy, and then he saw Yan and said to him, wow, as a live streamer, I also advanced into the top 25. His mouth trembled slightly. Turning his gaze from Sun Donging, Yan said nothing. In Yan's opinion, though Sun Donging was just a normal singer, he was riding Zhang Han's coattails and would surely reach a position higher than the top 25. He is here to ruin the show, right? As I said, however strong their social relation is, they can't suppress and surpass Zhang Han. I like it. Yan's eyes were also suffused with excitement. Thanks to Zhang Han, he brings fairness and more excitement to the competition. Even if I lose the match, I'll be defeated in a respectable way, not like TQ. I'm ashamed for him. There was enough time for the 50 singers and the 25 competitions between them. After lunchtime, the show continued in the afternoon. At 2 p.m., the single challenge was over. Now we have the top 25 singers in the first season of Chinese New Voice. Next, you can form your combat teams. All the singers became invigorated. We'll form the teams. They were all thinking about their ideal mentor, though Gufan's and Xian's appearance would surely attract some singers. Most of them would make a choice based on comprehensive consideration. It's a mutual selection between contestants and mentors. They'll be separated by a wall with 3 doors, and a team will be formed only when both the ideal contestant and the ideal mentor choose to open the same door. If the mutual selection is unsuccessful, the contestant will be pending and the mentor will lose 1 chance. Each mentor has 10 chances to choose their ideal contestants, and there are at most 7 members in a team. Therefore, for the mentors, the more mutual selections they fail, the fewer members they will have. Before the mutual selection, each mentor has 1 hour to communicate with their ideal contestants. The 25 contestants are now in the single rooms on the right side of the hall, and you'll find their name on the door. In the following hour, the mentors can have a free chat with all the contestants, 1 chance for 1 person. The countdown has started, and the 3 groups of mentors will enter the field through 3 doors. Zoom. The screen on the wall began to count down. The selection begins. We have only 1 hour, let's go. The 4 mentors walked into their respective corridors. They approached the field from 3 directions. I must speed up and be the first to chat with I'm cute. Gufan looked into the camera while walking. The other 2 groups of mentors must have the same plan, though Xian might be less nervous than us. I want to emphasize that it's up to the contestants to choose their own team, so it's my chance to steal him from mentor Xian. Gufan began running forward. In the other corridor, Xuanhuan and Diehua also quickened their pace while chatting with each other. We'll go for I'm cute first. He will be a helper for us if we succeed this time. I'm sure they are going to persuade him, too, but he is likely to choose Xian. Diehua shook his head. So we are trying to steal him from Xian. Anyway, we should fight for it. Xuanhuan smiled. Yes. In the leftmost hallway, Xian was walking slowly with the cameraman following her. She knew that it was time for her to say something. So she looked into the camera and said casually, they will go for I'm cute, but I'm sure he will choose me. Want to know the reason? I won't tell you. Xian gave the audience a cheeky smile, and then sped up. There were 25 small rooms in the hall, and Xuanhuan and Diehua were looking for someone inside. He is here. Suddenly, Diehua shouted and began running forward. Xian quickened her pace to follow him. When she approached Zhang Han's room, she saw Diehua standing outside. The name on the door was I'm cute, but the little display next to the handle said, occupied. Well, Gufan got a head start on us. Diehua shrugged helplessly. He was the first to start a conversation, but none of us is likely to succeed. Xuanhuan smiled, turned around, and looked at Xian. Your relationship must be more complicated than I thought. You are confident, right? Well, I don't know. Xian blinked her eyes. Take advantage of your beauty, and you'll get a competitive team, Xuanhuan said. Stop encouraging your opponent. Diehua patted Xuanhuan's arm and smiled at Xian. Let's wait and see, maybe I'm cute will be stolen from you, be careful. 5 minutes had passed. Gafan opened the door and came out. He couldn't help smiling. You are all here, haha, you're late, I've made a deal with him. Then he left the other mentors for the left side of the hall. He seemed to be so confident. Diehua and Xuanhuan were wondering if Gafan was trying to trick them. Xian was the only one who didn't care about what had happened. HMPH. Recently, I've rewarded him every night. It's impossible for him to choose another mentor. He is my husband, and he will without question choose me. It's our turn. Xuanhuan notified Diehua, and they entered the room. Xian could hear the faint sound of their communication and Xuanhuan's smile. Xuanhuan and Diehua chatted with Zhang Han for 3 to 4 minutes, and left his room with smiles on their faces. Xian burst out laughing. They are good actors. I almost believe it. When I tell them that he is my husband, they will be astonished. Ha ha ha. Xian coughed to cover her excitement, then entered the room. I'm cute. Xian said hello to Zhang Han as a mentor, and then sat down opposite him. Hearing Xian's words, Zhang Han smiled and nodded. Yes, you're cute. Huh? Mind your attitude when speaking with your mentor. Xian coughed to clear her throat, and then said, what's the benefit you'll get from the other mentors? Well, it's a secret. Zhang Han pushed his sunglasses upward. Excuse me? You dare to have a secret? Xian stared at Zhang Han, slightly snorted, and said, tell me who you'll choose. It's difficult to make a decision. Zhang Han pretended to be hesitating. Maybe I'll choose one of them because I'll get a great benefit from them. Xian realized that Zhang Han was playing a joke on her. You troublemaker. Are you threatening me? Xian pursed her lips and said, here is my offer. Well, we can cooperate to write new songs, but your own songs are good enough, and I wonder if you want to share some snacks with me in your spare time. Snacks? Zhang Han put on a smile. Yes, for example, baked seaweed, chicken-flavored circles, French fries. Xian mentioned several kinds of Meng Meng's favorite snacks, and then added, ice cream, and popping candy? Gulp. She heard Zhang Han swallowing saliva. Well, you're making me hungry. Good idea, and may we have a happy collaboration. May we have a happy collaboration. Xian smiled and shook hands with Zhang Han. Her big eyes curved into crescents. A mischievous spark glinted in her eyes. If their friends, such as Zifan Zhaofeng waiting backstage, saw them, they would be stunned. What a public display of affection. Stop attacking us mentally. After a while, the staff outside of the door notified them, time is up. The mentors could stay in one room no longer than 5 minutes. 5 minutes had passed by quickly. Well, I'll go for the other competitors. Xian left the room under Zhang Han's meaningful gaze. Next, I'll visit Luz and Sun Donging. Thinking about it, Xian went on. On the way, Xian passed by several competitors that she was interested in, but didn't stop to talk with them. 1 hour was enough for her, and she planned to go back after chatting with Luz and Sun Donging. She soon found Sun Donging's name and took the lead to enter his room. Which mentor do you like the most? Xian asked. Mentor Xian, of course, you are like a fairy. Sun Donging flattered Xian. Ha ha. Xian was amused by him and said directly, I'll go for the next competitor, and I'll choose you. Thank you, mentor. Sun Donging hurried to swallow the word madam. Gafan was chatting with Luz when Xian reached Luz's room. 2 minutes later, Gafan left the room and let Xian in. Luz, do you have a favorite mentor? Xian asked the same question, and then added, If you like Gafan, I can help you join him. I like all four mentors, Luz replied in a moderate way. Then he smiled and said, but Mentor Xian has always been my idol, and I'll choose you this time. It's a deal. Then Xian went to find her next objective without taking a break. Though each mentor had 10 chances to make their own choice, it was difficult for a complete team with 7 singers to be formed, because the promising singers usually had their own ideas. 1 hour had passed quickly. Time was up, and the 4 mentors were stopped on the way to their next objective. Most of the 25 performers were competitive, but I'm Cute had attracted the attention of almost all the audience and mentors, leaving no space for the other singers to show themselves. Let alone he was suspected to be Han Yang, which was nearly confirmed. Han Yang was known as a talented songwriter, and Gafan felt that he was like a schoolboy challenging a university student. Next, the selection begins, Director Cheng Zhu announced. All the mentors were now sitting on a sofa behind 3 doors. The first competitor, Luz, comes from Royal Entertainment Company. Luz, make your choice please, and then it's the mentor's turn. Hearing the host's cue, the 4 mentors looked at each other. Luz is pretty good. Xuanhuan stood up and took 2 steps forward without hesitation. Then he thought about something and went back. I remember that Xian used to work for the Royal Entertainment Company, so I decide to give up this rare opportunity. You know too much. Xian smiled and walked toward her door. Gafan hesitated for a while and decided to follow Xian. His singing style fits mine well, and I want to make a bet on him. Mentor selection is over. Open the door. Zoom. All 3 doors were opened. Luz appeared in front of Xian. Xian smiled and applauded. Thank you, Luz said politely, and then make a gesture to Gafan. Thank you. The mutual selection succeeds, and Luz joins Xian's team. Please take a rest in the team room. The team room was on the right side of the hall with 3 rows of chairs inside, representing the 3 teams. Luz found himself a position in Xian's row and sat down happily. It was really worth being happy. This program was very smooth, and there were so many highlights that could enhance the popularity of all the singers. The next one is, all the competitors made their choice one after another. So did the 3 groups of mentors, Yan, Tong Jiejie, Luz, Sun Donging, and a female competitor joined Xian's team. Up to now, Xian had used 9 of her chances and succeeded 5 times. The other mentors had made nice choices as well, and now there were 6 singers in Gafan's team and 5 in Xuanhuan and Diehua's team. Next, the last competitor, his name is, I'm Cute, the strongest dark horse this season. Welcome. Undoubtedly, both Gafan and Xuanhuan were saving their last choice for I'm Cute. In order to maintain the last chance, they gave up many singers. Competitor selection is over. Mentors, please make your decision. All the mentors were standing at their own doors. The mutual selection has succeeded. Open the doors. Zoom. All 3 doors were opened. Finding no one in front of them, Xuanhuan and Diehua forced a smile and turned left to look at Gafan. Gafan shook his head helplessly and turned left to look at Xian. However, under their gaze, Xian's smile froze. She turned right slowly and looked at the other mentors with confusion in her eyes. There was no one in front of her, either. He didn't choose me? Xian was stunned. Chapter 520, The News of the Relics. How dare he choose someone else? Bastard. All my efforts and rewards are in vain. Popping candy? Stop dreaming. I'll whip you when I get home. Xian's face darkened. She had almost gone mad. Turning right, she tried to find Zhang Han's ideal mentor. Which mentor did he choose? However, Xuanhuan's and Diehua's facial expressions told her that Zhang Han was not there. Why is Gafan looking left and right? All of a sudden, all 4 mentors were stunned. He is not here, Xuanhuan said in confusion. He is not here, either. Gafan shook his head. Where is he? The light in Xian's eyes dimmed. Did he escape from here? Just then, hi, she heard someone's voice. Looking ahead in a hurry, Zhang found someone's head by the door. It was Zhang Han. Zhang Han smiled at Zhang, and then shrank his head back. Zhang hurried forward several steps. She saw a ladder by the door. Zhang Han was coming down from above. On the side of the ladder, Chief Director Cheng Zhu was snickering. Zhang realized it was mischief. She stared at Cheng Zhu and said angrily, "Director, is this funny? You gave us a hard time. Ha ha ha." Cheng Zhu laughed and shook his hand at Zhang. "Sorry, I arranged this mischief in order to record your astonishment. Thanks to I'm Cute for his cooperation. Well, let's continue the show, and I won't bother you any longer." He rushed back after apologizing to the mentors. "Congratulations, Zhang, you again get a strong team member." Xuanhuan, who was not so depressed after the mischief, applauded Zhang. "Zhang's team is so competitive," Gafan said helplessly. "Both Yan and Luz are professional. Tong Jiejia is a promising singer with a strong personality. Mai's voice is solid, and Sun Donging is talented. Most of all, she has I'm Cute. Well, the next round of competition is so stressful for me. The same for Diehua and I. We are nervous." Xuanhuan shook his head and said, "We mentors may also take part in the following competition, and we are frightened by him, Zhang's mobile song library. What if he is a slacker?" Zhang covered her smile with her hand. After the mentors finished chatting, Cheng Zhu went back, picked up a microphone, and explained, "In the next round of competition, you are required to save the remaining competitors who are not in any team, and each mentor group will sing a new original song with one of your competitors. You have 3 days to write the song, and the 100 judges on site will rate them. The first mentor can resurrect 2 competitors, the second mentor can resurrect 1 competitor, and the third mentor is not eligible for resurrection. There shall be at most 7 members in a team. Now you can go to the room and discuss with your team members who your partner will be." Hearing Cheng Zhu's words, Gafan, Xuanhuan, and Diehua were all stunned. "Well." Diehua grinned and said, "Is this competition specially designed for Zhang?" "I think so." Xuanhuan smiled. "The program division enjoys seeing us in trouble. Zhang, why not spare us more chances?" Gafan suggested, "You already have 6 members, and will choose only 1 singer if you win first place. Why not be the second and let one of us select 2 more singers?" "Wait, I have 6 competitors, too, and there are only 5 singers in Xuanhuan and Diehua's team. If they win first place, the number of their team members will be 7, which is more than ours. I made a mistake and I'm confused." Not knowing whether to laugh or cry, Gafan scratched his head and put on an embarrassed smile. "I'm just joking. This program is fair and just, and everyone can only win by strength. Mentor Zhang, though you have a strong team, we are not much weaker than you." "You are right." Xuanhuan said excitedly, "We aim for first place, which will bring us 2 more singers and help us out of the dilemma. I have no mercy." Zhang winked and made a gun gesture. "Boo, boo, boo." She looked like a naughty girl. Then all the mentors entered the team room. All the members of the 3 teams were waiting for them there. Seeing I'm Cute following Zhang instead of the other mentors, Zhang's team members, including Yan and Tong Jiejia, began cheering. "It's too early to celebrate, the situation of the competition is unpredictable, and he is not almighty. I'm waiting to challenge you." Xuanhuan smiled. Xuanhuan was outgoing, and everyone knew that he was joking and was amused by him. "Okay, let's go make a plan." Zhang waved at Luz and the others. They quickly stood up, followed Zhang out, and went to the preparation room of their team. In addition to them, there was a cameraman who recorded their activities all the way. There was also a circular sofa in the preparation room, with a tea table in the middle, 2 guitars, and an electronic piano beside. "Sit down please." Zhang waved at her team members casually. After everyone found their seats, Zhang looked at them, smiled, and said, "First of all, we are now in the same team, and I, as your mentor, wish you to go farther in the show. We aim at winning the championship and will make a great effort to achieve this goal. That's my expectation of all of you, but most importantly, I want to bring happiness to you and I wish that you will enjoy the team life. Do you understand? The show would be attractive. More and more people would be their fans and followers. They would thus be famous, get more chances to make money, and even get promoted in social stature, which would in turn make them more famous. But too many benefits might blind them. That was why there were so many scandals and intrigues in the entertainment industry. Xian didn't want her team to be drawn into such a whirlpool. All they should do was to win their fans' favor and the championship with strength and effort. Therefore, Xian decided to warn them at the beginning. After hearing Xian's words, Yan immediately understood it and took the lead to reply. You can rest assured, mentor, we know how to get on with each other well, and we're sure to go farther with you and I'm cute, the guru. Mentor Xian, I like you so much, of course, I'll obey you. Tong Jiajia smiled. The others also echoed Xian's suggestion. Xian nodded and said, second, something about how to save the rest of the singers. According to the director's requirement, I want a contestant to sing a song with me. Anyone want to have a try? At this time, Zhang Han didn't say anything. He didn't care about the result of the competition, and all he wanted to do was to obey Xian's order. But he couldn't stop the other team members from recommending him. The guru is the most suitable candidate. Yan hesitated and said, your performance is sure to detonate the whole stage. I also think so. Tong Jiajin nodded her head. The others again echoed Yan's suggestion. Sun Donging raised his hand and said, I want to have a try, but I'm not suitable for Mentor Xian. Guru, it's your chance. Xian pursed her lips and took a glance at Zhang Han. That's settled. The others had no objection to the decision. After chatting for a while, Zhang Han checked the time then said, it's 3:20 p.m. I have something to do and must leave now. Mentor and Guru, are you free tomorrow or the day after tomorrow? I'd like to invite you to dinner, Yan suggested. I'm afraid that I will be busy in the next 2 days. May I invite you to dinner in a few days? Xian replied with a smile, and then stood up. Let's call it a day. See you next Monday. You'd better make full preparation for next week, and there may be a special show after the competition. Okay. All the team members replied. Then they left one after another. Xian and Zhang Han got in separate cars, went back to the villa, and then got on the same helicopter back to New Moon Bay. You are going to sing a song with my sister, brother-in-law. Will it be a love song? Zif asked curiously. Well, it's up to your sister, Zhang Han replied with a smile. It's up to me? Did you give me a chance to make a decision this afternoon? Why did you scare me then? Xian said angrily. The director required me to do so, Zhang Han replied with an embarrassed look. Even though it was Cheng Zai's idea, why didn't you get my permission? HMPH, wait for my punishment. Xian snorted. Well, Zhang Han was about to say something when his cell phone rang. It was Ltanan. Zhang Han fixed his eyes. Has he discovered the relics? He answered the phone. Hello, Director. Zhang Han, which do you want, the bad news or the good news? Ltanan was laughing. Both, Zhang Han said casually. Which one shall we start with? Okay, the good news is that we got some information about the relics. Just as I expected, Ltanan explained. The relic hasn't been ranked yet, but it must be at level C or above. Its location is near Mount He Snow in H province, and it will open in less than 1 month. All the information about the relic will be collected within half a month. Mount He Snow in H province? Zhang Han was attracted by the location. H province was in the northeast on the mainland, and Zhang Han had planned to go there. As for the bad news, the close-door cultivation of North Tiger Gaik Singkong is over, and maybe he has reached the divine realm, or at least a stage very close to it. As your father's opponent, Gaik Singkong is so strong that he made such amazing progress in several years, and it is said that he has inherited some cultivating methods from someone. He will be your opponent. and the northeast of the mainland is his stronghold. Therefore, it's bad news.